We are approaching that time of year again. A time of great exhilaration, a time of great pleasure, a time of great fear. The darker sides of all crave that latter delight from themselves, but even more so from others. To satiate that hunger, our dark selves take note, interest, and entertainment in tales of the macabre that appeal to our deepest fears as only mortals face. The only way to achieve this is to begin the dark ritual where Nerdporial and a special guest will discuss a particular tale during this season to ward off pure evil, as well as to entertain and to educate. I humbly welcome you to the Serial Horror Chat. That was my first attempt at a jump scare in my editing. So, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another Serial Horror Chat. I'm your host, Brian, but today I identify as the Thingporial Absorber because that's what things from outer space do. So don't question it. Just consume what I'm having to tell you right now. So, but you know what? I decided. You know what? The Thing is considered the goat of horror movies by a lot of channels that I trust and respect. And so for this movie, for tackling this particular stream, I decided not to have my usual, single other guest, but have to have two guests with me. So my first guest, y'all know him, y'all love him. We have McCready's sombrero here.
McCready's sombrero.
Yes.
I love this movie. We were talking in the green room about how I found it and what age I watched it. Thanks for having me on, dude. I can't wait to talk about it.
No problem. I know you. I know you. I know you saw. I think didn't you say you saw this in Dallas?
Well, I got an action figure in Dallas,
You
and
got
it
an
was
action
because of
figure.
your other guest who's like, dude, you have to get that action figure. And because when it comes to action figures and nerddom, I fall prey to peer pressure. I got it. But yeah, I saw this when it came out when I was 12. Scared the living hell out of me. So,
Wow,
yeah.
1982. Yeah, I wasn't
Yeah,
even
man.
born yet. Not digging, but yeah.
That's okay. You missed out.
You're right. I did. 80s is probably might be the best decade for movies. Okay, it is the best decade for movies. Who am I kidding? So, but we have a super fan. Is my other. So we have another super fan that I'm willing to recognize right here. And this super fan is Sno Dub, the Thing expert. Sno Dub, welcome back. This is your second time on Reportal Stream.
Yeah, and we're talking more horror. Last time was a chit chat about Dahmer, and now we're going to dive into what I think, in my opinion, is the greatest movie ever made. So you picked the right guy to talk about this.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally. Yeah, everybody said if you're gonna do a thing chat, you gotta have Sno Dub on. You just have to have him. No questions asked. Just listen to us. We're you better trust us. And I'm like, okay.
My
I'm like, okay,
reputation precedes me, I guess. Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, so Salty says he saw it when he was a kid. So how did you first see it in the theater, or did you see it like on video later?
I'm not quite that old. Thanks. Nice try. I was 4 when this movie came out, but I did see it at 5 because my uncle made a horrible mistake of having all of us kids down in the rec room one night after a very wonderful Thanksgiving dinner, and the uncle decided he'd put this new Thing movie in, John Carpenter, for the whole family to watch. And luckily enough, I had one older cousin there that had already seen it. And she kind of saved our ass by throwing a blanket over our heads every time a scary scene came up. But
So you didn't see any of the movie then. That's pretty much it,
I
right?
didn't really need to, Salty, because the hearing of it alone
Oh
was
God, yeah.
terrifying. And
Yes,
the
the
few
sound
times
is
I
great in this movie.
the few times I snuck a peek, because as kids do, I immediately pulled the blanket back up again. It was just
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I can't believe what I just seen type of thing.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
dog tongues flying out of the dog really sticks out in my head as one
Yeah.
of the main things I
Yeah.
saw the first time I watched it. And we're talking 1983, kids. So I like literally 5 years old. I was heavy into Star Wars at the time. The toys were still real popular. So, but what a life-changing experience. Now that I look back at it, I'm thankful, that I got
Oh yeah.
the shit scared out of me. So yeah.
Yeah, I was 12 when I saw this, and I was telling Poriel, we went to some church thing, and my parents wanted my brother and I to be in one room, and they were in the other room with the baby, my baby brother. And of course, I do what 12-year-olds do in the 80s, and it's find out how can I see naked chicks. And so I was looking, and it had HBO, and there were no boobs. So like, all right, let's watch a really scary movie, and
Right.
this has got a monster on it. So we started watching it, and my brother and I were losing our shit because he was 10, I was 12. Suddenly, that dog's splitting open, and it's like, there's a lot. I mean, I was a gangster kid, but dude, I don't care who you are. The thing will F you up. It will. It will scare the shit out of you, you know?
Yeah, I
Hail
felt
to-
bad. I felt bad for the dog when I first saw it. I was like, oh no.
I love animals. I do animal rescue. I did husky rescue especially, and I've had Siberian huskies. So that scene, it's just, oh God. It's like, I know it's all practical effects, but it's just, oh. I just want to say hail to Nathan, Amanda, Manethrin. It's awesome to see you. The one and only Purple Valkyrie. We just did a Halloween show on Candy. Go watch that after Nerd Pearl rolls. And of course, hail to Keely Chow, Row Tide, and Nosferatu the Vampire, who is very much in love with Steve, Prophet of the Dragon. So, yeah.
So tonight,
What
So-
the
so,
hell?
yeah.
Problems? What's that? I see how it is. Manthrin.
He just wants you to go to church. We all do, if we're honest about it, Sno Dub.
The
We all
root
want you
of-
to go to church.
I think what I saw in church might have been a little worse. Just saying. That's for a different stream, different conversation.
Oh, yeah, we'll have to talk about that. That was my pizza alarm. I'll be right back.
Nosferatu here says the first time I laid eyes on Salty, Earth Angel played in the background. Oh man, so romantic right there. And we got
Hashtag me too, actually. When you said that. I had to
Henry-
stand on a table first to look at him eye to eye, though.
Oh yeah, see, you got that right there. We got Henry Lemoyne here. Such an amazing movie. I truly think movies should now be more practical like this. I agree. It might be more expensive, but you know what? It's worth it. And of course, Purple Valkyrie. Robert Teen was a special effects wizard on this film. Yeah,
Yes,
he
was.
really improved because the last the stream I did yesterday was for the Howling, and he worked on the Howling. And let's just say his werewolf transformation is, in my opinion, inferior to what I think it was Rick Baker did in.
I think you cut out there for a minute, but yeah, no, Rick Baker was, I believe, his teacher, and he was a protege of Rick Baker's.
Yeah, and he ended up leaving the project to go work on American Werewolf in London. That's why I learned from reading about the Howling. The Howling came out first in early '81, and London came out in late '81. So
and you got to remember, Bottin was literally in his early 20s. So he was very young.
Yeah, he was like 19 when he got into the business. I think it was he worked on Piranha was his first movie, and that was a Joe Dante. I think that was a Joe Dante film too, along with the Howling.
Right. I think even James Cameron had something to do with that movie, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I
directed it. Maybe he did something.
Yeah. So Robert Teen. Yeah, Robert Teen is pretty much the rock star of this. And of course, we have Dean Cundy's camera work. Of course, anyone who knows who Dean Cundy is, he was a cinematographer on the original Halloween, and the original Halloween is my favorite horror movie of all time. And
I've heard that. I watch your streams. I've heard that.
Yeah. And,
when do you think you're going to lock up? Do you think it's going to be in the beginning, middle, or end of the stream? Because we can place bets in chat, and we could give super chats. Like,
that's awesome.
Wait,
what?
Does that happen all the time?
No, remember you like freeze up sometimes, and I was like, you should have people give super chats predicting when you're going to freeze up, because then we'll vamp for you. And I'm
Take
not making
bets.
fun of you.
Yeah.
It's been happening to everybody, and it's not just you. But
Right.
I watch these streams. I keep saying this. Your Jaws review with Pips was out effing standing. It really, really was. And
Mm.
I like talking about these movies like this. There's a lot of people who are doing content like this. There are, and in some ways, it kind of dilutes the. Everyone has a right to do what they want, but when people do really deep research, like our man Nerdporial over here, it's like next level. It really is. And no, he's not paying me, although I'm trying to get paid. So
Wow. I didn't know we were doing reach arounds and back kisses this early.
only for you, Sno Dub.
Yes,
I only have eyes
I appreciate
for
that.
you.
Appreciate
We got
that.
this. We got the Spider Master came back. What's up, Spider Master? Thanks for coming back. I know you were on. You came by yesterday. Thanks for doing that. And
Yes, this was a remake, kind of. I like to look at it more as a reimagining than a remake, because
yeah.
it was literally 30 years later, and the special effects had gone way more
Agreed.
advanced since
Agreed.
that.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. The thing was the source material, which is called a book called Who Goes There,
Right.
was adapted in the 50s, but there were so many changes made to it.
Yeah.
So when they went back and so when they decided to revisit, the source material, that's where this movie came from. And apparently this movie went through like so many directors. This was like in development hell for like several years. Like I think this project started in the early 70s, early to mid 70s.
And if I remember correctly, this actually came out at the wrong time of the year. It came out, I think, in April instead of around Halloween.
Well, it went
if I
head
remember
to head.
correctly.
It went head to head with E.T. That was the biggest problem.
Yeah, dude. Who releases a monster movie at Easter? I'm just asking that question.
Yeah, and you're up against Spielberg, and Spielberg is known for his likable characters, very very very
everything.
Look at the lineup of the movies that summer, and it'll blow your mind.
1982 is considered the official nerd year by a lot of boomers.
I think Blade Runner was in there.
I got into an argument with somebody. Yeah, I got into an argument with somebody last year. I went to Las Vegas. I went to the meetup in Las Vegas. I went to the Star Trek con. I argued for 1984 because that's the year yours truly was born.
Mm-hmm.
So I argued for 1984 being just as nerdy of a year as 1982.
Well, it's crazy because, I mean, again, my experience is only my own. I was 12 years old, but I can tell you as someone who was a kid in the 70s and then looking at what culture was in music and movies, a lot of the cinema from the 90s was much more gritty. Your Scorsese, Mean Streets, Dustin Hoffman, The Midnight Cowboy. We got lucky with Star Wars, in 77. But then what did Hollywood do? They made 8 million really, really shitty copies of Star Wars that didn't have what Star Wars had, which was a great story in the hero's journey. And then we
did
pop
the same
into
thing with slasher movies, Salty.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. But I mean, 1981 and 1982, musically, you watched the escape velocity from disco. Now, these things are connected, and I do have a point. The escape velocity from that over corporatized crap and entertainment of disco, you saw it in rock and roll. You saw people playing pretty darn good rock and roll and more creative freedom. And the same way, Tron was the Hail Mary pass for Disney, blew all their money on it, and I was there in the theater. It sucked. I was bored. It wasn't Star Wars. They kept saying it was Star Wars. This movie, the same thing. They misfired because they released them in the wrong times and they marketed them in the wrong way.
Right.
And but these movies are exceptional quality. They really are.
And the
this
thing,
movie, Blade Runner,
Well, the thing was butchered by the critics. If you go back and watch Roger Ebert,
Sisker and Ebert.
He called it like a glorified, some kind of autopsy film, just absolute gore and disgusting and just put it down in every way possible, which is sad because it took years for that movie to gain its cult status. And finally, now you ask people that review movies and they'll always tell you it's, one of the top 5 greatest horror movies ever made, if not one of the best movies ever made. So,
Well, I remember in the 80s, once we got VCRs, that we rented that a lot when we'd play D&D. We'd get that movie, we'd rent Blade Runner, we'd rent Pink Floyd, Another Brick in the Wall, because that was kind of what the alt kid, the kids who listened to The Cure and The Cult and shaved their heads and rode skateboards did, is we watched stuff like that. And The Thing is one of those movies where I think it's almost gotten better as time has gone on. And you compare it against current year horror. I mean, what is that? Halloween Ends with handicapped
Shit.
accessible Jamie Lee Curtis, it's just why anyway. I'm gonna eat my pizza. Sorry.
That's a whole nother stream, Salty, because Halloween Ends was kind of an atrocity.
You saw it too, Sno Dub?
Yeah, it was bad.
I mean, it's like at least Halloween 3 had the nerve to, show that Michael Myers wasn't in the movie at all. He was a movie character. That's what I think they should have did with this movie, because that's what it kind of felt like. And Halloween 3 is a good movie, but this movie was not. And I just that concept belongs in a standalone anthological film like Halloween 3 was. Because that was not a bad concept, but it's not a good concept for a third movie in a trilogy about Jamie Lee Curtis fighting Michael Myers.
The stupid actor who went by the name of Corey, by the way, Salty.
Cunningham too.
Corey Cunningham. Okay,
the grandson of Sean S. Cunningham.
This actor was warned by Goyer, or whatever his name is, the director, that he was
David Gordon Green.
Gordon Green, sorry, that he would be hated because people were not going to like his character or this movie. So they went forward
seriously
with this movie for creative blah, 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 whatever, knowing they were going to piss off their audience.
Well, you know what that means. If that when a creator does that, you don't watch any more of what the creator does.
He's doing the Exorcist movies next.
I'm not.
Are you guys talking about Rings of Power or Wheel of
Time? Might as well
be.
Or Ms. Marvel or Captain Marvel or Andor or
I actually plan to do a video about this where I kind of go off on what's happening to our favorite franchises between this and that Hellraiser garbage that we just saw come out on Hulu or whatever. It's just I'm at my wit's end with horror right now, and the shit they've been serving us. A bunch of sandwiches.
I mean, yes, Sno Dub, I know how you feel. I mean, you can be artistic. I mean, if you're going to do something different, be upfront with your audience. Respect your audience, the people that have made possible the fact that you can make sequels to a movie that might not have had a sequel. I mean, the reason why they left it kind of open-ended, the first 2018 movie, was because there was a possibility it might not have been successful. But if it was successful, they were going to make sequels.
The thing about that, the thing Porial Absorber, is that you have to do two things. You have to, number one, respect the story and realize that you have an honor to make a story that's well written by somebody. The second part is that you respect and honor the audience, because you want to entertain them. When you try to educate the audience, you end up like North Korea or the Soviet Union or
there was nothing educational.
Hulu, Netflix, Amazon.
I'll go on a limb, and there's nothing woke about Halloween Ends. It was just bad decision making. It was just bad decision, bad direction. They should have just made it an epic conclusion and made it the same night. I mean,
there's very few shows, movies, whatever, that can make you actually think about it and hold it with you. Kind of like our stream we did last time with Dahmer. That was something that you held on to after you watched it, and it's something that you carry with you afterwards where you think about it again. Movies like that, where it's kind of like entertaining, educating you at the same time, where Saving Private Ryan is another great example. And it's one of the movies that you actually want to go back to, watch again, to get your fill of genius at work. And it's the same thing with this movie that we're talking about now, The Thing. I have watched this movie probably more times than it's either this one or Aliens. I'm not sure which one I've watched.
Yeah. It's a couple times a month. It's in rotation with the Lord of the Rings trilogy extended.
Amen.
It's just it's the go-to, Yeah. And Nosferatu the Vampire, I have watched Dark Side of the Rainbow. That's where you watch The Wizard of Oz and put Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon on when Dorothy steps on the yellow brick road. It is really trippy and kind
Is
of
that
crazy.
how it works? Because I know Dark
Yeah.
Side of the Moon's only like 45 minutes long, and of course
Yeah.
Wizard of Oz is about 80 or 90 minutes long. So
Yeah.
I was like,
When
how do
she's-
you sync that? I was curious how you sync that.
when
I've heard of it.
when it goes color and she puts on there. Yeah, kid of the
Okay.
80s. Kid of the 80s. Purple Valkyrie's right. The thing is an incredibly tightly shot film and perfectly does the job of heightening the sense of paranoia that drives the film. It's true. They used to talk about this as an analogy for the Cold War. I don't think so. I think this is just a tight, good thriller.
It's a whodunit.
I do.
It's a whodunit.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I'm going to be asking
mystery,
because it's because one of the things that keeps being a mystery is who do you think did what and when do you think they were infected or who got them infected? It's questions like this that I'm going to be asking throughout this stream right here. So
yeah, I don't. It's hard for me to understand what it would be like to come into this movie completely naked, not knowing anything about it, and watching it for the first time. But I'd imagine that you're already kind of sensing something is not right with this dog right from the get-go, and it brilliantly leads you in with a very well trained animal, I might add, with a shadow shot of the dog joining up with somebody and a cut to black, and right then you know somebody has been technically infected. Doesn't tell you who, doesn't show you who, just kind of shows you a shadow of who it might be, and you really don't find out till later on in the movie.
I have
Great
two I have two guesses for that, but we'll get to that when we get to the breakdown. So
I'm pretty sure I think I know who it was, but we'll get to that.
can you hear me? You can't hear me.
I can hear you now. Yes.
All right, it's my stupid
We
mic.
can hear you the whole time, dude.
Every time like I move something, like my mic is super sensitive, like it'll just cut off. Like if I just move the surface, the table that's on, off.
Well, next time it happens, put some sunglasses on and wave your head back and forth like Stevie Wonder.
Oh, I love that idea.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, I am drinking Fireball with Coke on ice or on the rocks.
Oh, wow.
He's a madman. He's a madman.
That's how you start a Friday night.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's my first. Actually, this is my first stream ever drinking. And I decided to start with you guys. So, cheers.
I am honored. I will join you as soon as I'm done eating my pizza because again, I hadn't eaten in 11 hours.
You had a pizza?
And,
well, guess what I had because I'm in Chicago. What is Chicago most known for?
Stabbings, shootings.
Were you eating pizza the last time we streamed together, Salty? I think you were.
Dude, you make it sound like it's a problem. I don't see a problem.
Maybe,
I don't judge your lifestyle. And if anybody's lifestyle should be judged, let's be honest about it.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude. I gotta mess with you. You know,
Italian beef. Italian beef is what I had for dinner. That's.
Oh, dude, I love Italian beef. I the last time I was in Chicago, I went to the CIA, the Chicago or whatever the hell it is, Art Institute, and got some really, really good Italian beef down there.
That's close, Henry. The deep dish is great. Lou Malnati's here in Chicago, excellent.
I like that place. It's really good.
Yes, I didn't know you were Italian.
Who?
That's Salty. He said he had some really good Italian beef down there.
I guess he did. I guess he does.
All right.
And what's up, Dempsey? How you doing? Chicago style pizza rules.
I am actually Italian. It's like 40%.
Right.
Northern Italian. But you can't have my beef, Sno Dub, no matter how.
I was just admiring it. Wasn't going to do anything rash.
So my story with the thing is, I'll be honest, I don't even truly remember, but I do know I didn't see it until I was a teenager. I think my first exposure to the thing was actually watching the original Halloween and seeing in John Carpenter's movie, seeing the kids watching or seeing little Lindsay Wallace watching the thing on the television. We see the opening, same type of font, the same type of title card and everything. But years later, I was looking at like what John Carpenter was known for. I started getting into horror as a teenager, 80s horror mainly. I saw the thing, and I think I rented it on VHS. I'm not sure if I saw it on VHS or DVD first, but either or, that's how I saw it. And I watched it, and I was like, "Holy shit! What is this? This is so different from Halloween. This is so different from anything else, but yet it's still scary. It's still like, yeah, I felt for the dog." It's just like you said, it's a whodunit, and it was done pretty well, and just the practical effects. I was like, holy shit, a head's being ripped off. You see these little things whipping out, and then a dog turns into some plant-looking mushroom thing. It's so
Well,
crazy.
that was the brilliance of
That's
Stan
awesome.
Winston. Stan
Mhm.
Winston actually had to
Mm.
come in with an assist on Rob Bottin because Rob Bottin was literally stressed to the gills. I mean, he was working 16-hour days,
Yeah.
7 days a week, drinking caffeine and living off candy bars. And I think he even went to the hospital with a mild panic attack or some shit. So they brought in Stan Winston, a great addition to this movie to do the dog effects. And you could tell, because it's the man who made the Terminator and the Aliens and Alien and all that stuff. So that they brought in the big guns to kind of give the assist to get this movie over the top. And there was more effects planned. Unfortunately, budget, time, all that crap ran out. But I would have loved to have seen what they could have come up with if they had another year or so and a little bit more money. There is a few deleted scenes of some of the stop motion effects that was done for the final monster, the Blair monster. It's not very good. I could see why Carpenter cut it out. But it is fun to look at if you get a hold of one of the Ultimate Edition DVDs or Blu-rays of the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to answer Henry Lemoyne's question, yeah, he did do The Fog. It was the movie he did right after Halloween. I think it was 1980. And is it like The Mist? I've not seen The Mist. I've heard The Mist is messed up. Like I hear everybody dies in that one.
I love that movie.
The only mist I know is at the supermarket. Like
that's the one. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's
based on a Stephen King novel. Yep.
Yeah.
It is spooky.
Yeah,
it's good. Misting.
Yeah. So you guys ready to start the breakdown?
Yeah, bring on the aliens.
There's actually an homage to the thing in The Mist. The main character is an artist, and you see that he drew the poster art for the thing in the background, who's also a nod to Drew Struzan, who actually did the poster art for the thing. He's well known for Star Wars movie posters and Raiders of the Lost Ark and stuff. So anyway, I'll shut up now. Go ahead.
I love those movie posters, by the way.
Yeah,
but you know what's funny? I only wrote like a 4-page retrospective on the thing that I uploaded last year. So what I started off with, I talk about concept of identity. I said the concept of identity has been studied since turn of the 20th century. What do you think when you think of identity? What do you generally think? Do you think personality? Do you think race, sex, orientation, roles, likes, dislikes, groups? Do you think individualism or collectivism? I keep going. I keep going like this, but then I talk about what if something happened that took away our identity? Well, here's John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah, it's not just graphene oxide.
No, it's not. And and so here we see right on the screen we see a UFO, and I believe Sno Dub, maybe if am I correct, this is 100,000 years ago. So this takes place 100,000 years before the events of the movie, before 1982. I think that's correct, right?
Something like that. That sounds right. Yeah,
because I know that
long time. Yeah,
because I know that the UFO has been crashed on Antarctica for thousands of years.
Thousands of years, so. Yes. Yep.
So here we get this cool little shots kind of whirling into Earth. Come on. And of course we get this great little let me see.
The burn. Yeah.
So what did they do here? So they just burned paper or something to create that little effect.
Bag, if I remember right.
Yeah.
That was a trash bag. Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
With a light behind it. I think it was like in a fish tank or something like that.
Yeah.
It was an interesting effect. This is all stuff you can check out on like I said, the special editions. They got a nice behind the scenes where they talk about all of this stuff.
Recently got the 4K. I hope it's on the 4K. So here it's winter in Antarctica in 1982.
I'd love to be there instead of here now. Just gonna say that. 1982.
I didn't think they had mountains in Antarctica. I thought it was just all deserts. I thought it was
that's a shelf. Those are cliffs. They do have mountains.
They
actually have something that people thought was a pyramid for a long time. But because of the way these two crusts, it's two plates that are pushing together, it's very jagged. Yeah. And actually, Antarctica has a really, really weird geomagnetic anomaly with a very deep, weird well of fresh water right in the middle of it. Interesting.
But The movie was actually shot in British Columbia, so back kind of northern, I think, British Columbia during the winter.
Yeah, that's kind of why I asked, like, if mountains were common in Antarctica. I don't know if this was just John Carpenter trying to fool the audience into because there's snow all over the place.
That's what the mountains are like in BC, in northern BC. They are. And Sno Dub, you lived in the Pacific Northwest. You know what I'm talking about. You could look at the Olympics and you could look at the Canadian Rockies and go, yeah, that could be that could be Antarctica.
Yeah, you could definitely tell it's that kind of environment of some kind. You know, there's no greenery around. I think that's what he was looking for, was something with absolutely no trees. You know, just kind of flat surfaces and rocky plateaus.
And of course, we have here McCready's Swedes. So these are his Swedes right there, because that's what he calls.
They're not Swedish, Mac. They're Norwegian.
They're Norwegians, Mac. Get over it.
Yeah.
That's Doctor. What's his name? Doctor. What the hell's his name?
He goes by Doc. I can't really remember.
Dr. Copper. Dr. Copper.
That's right, Copper.
Richard Dysart. Yeah, I've seen him in only. There's only one other thing I've seen him in. He plays one of Archie Bunker's wife's husbands, and always reminds of how much more money he has than him. You know, pissing him off and all that. That was he plays one of the cousins or something.
He did a lot of bit parts. He did a lot of
television.
Yeah, like Quincy, and I think he might have done an appearance on MASH and like The Love Boat. You know, so he did that circuit. Yeah,
I think he was. Well, I know this was Keith David's first movie.
Was it?
Pretty sure that diabetes Brimley. Pretty sure he was pretty well known at this point from one of the westerns, I think, or was it?
Yeah, and I don't think Cocoon came out yet. I think Cocoon came out in 80.
Came out in 85.
Or 80, one of those. I knew it was about that.
So is this like the only movie where Brimley does not have a mustache? Because for a second I was like, is that him? Is that him? Where's that iconic mustache that he has? I
guess it's one of the few. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just strange seeing him without a mustache.
Right.
Of course, he plays Blair.
Mm-hmm.
Probably plays the most important character. Besides McCready, I think he's probably the other most important character in the movie.
I guess you could kind of call him the antagonist. I guess, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of like the scientist from the original movie, except he doesn't want to.
If you explained it in a video game format, he was the big bad boss at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So here's McCready's Swedes are chasing what looks to be a wolf or a wolf dog or a sled dog. A husky.
It's a husky.
It's a husky. They're chasing a husky from, I'm assuming it's their base. I did see The Thing 2011, which I didn't think was too. I don't know if you guys agree, but I thought it was okay.
I never saw it.
There was parts I liked, and then of course the CGI butchered what could have been something very well done. So,
well, the split face thing, they used the CGI thing to kind of split or merge two people together to create the split face thing that you see when they uncover. Right. They go to the Norwegian base and they uncover it. Right. So here the Norwegians are pursuing this dog or this husky, and they're trying to shoot at it, and they can't freaking shoot to save their lives. I'll say these guys are morons.
Well, the prequel, actually, the one good thing it did was the last few minutes of that movie, while the credits are basically rolling, it's showing a lead-up point to when this happens. So from that perspective, I love how well it did the lead-up. Okay. So I would say the last 5 minutes or so of the movie is a nice little setup to build into this movie. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So here these guys are trying to snipe the dog, and I forget which. I think one of the producer guy, can't think of his name. Larry Franco, not related to any of the Francos that we know in Hollywood today, like James Franco. But we have producer Larry Franco. I think is the one shooting at the dog. I think that's him. It's either him or him. One of these two guys is the producer. So they can't freaking hit that dog to save their lives. But then again, I'm not a sharpshooter, so I have no fucking idea.
That's not an easy shot.
It's
not an easy shot.
I mean,
from a moving target on a moving target with
a small target too.
Yeah, that's true.
it would be better to get ahead of it, hover, and then get a stable surface to aim the rifle. But
That's true
Right.
too.
that's just me.
So they're pursuing, and we see
But
Antarctic
he was dropping
science.
bombs too, if you remember
Yeah,
right.
Oh
they-
yeah.
Yeah, they were dropping bombs too. Let's just say what they do with with the bomb is so stupid. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I know.
Like this is typical horror trope right there. Somebody has to do something to create a disaster. So they have someone do
Yeah.
somebody do something unprofessional and stupid. But then again,
Well, imagine
maybe these guys
being-
had no experience dealing with these type of weapons, and they
You got to remember what they just went through and what they. had
Oh
just
yeah, yeah,
That's
seen,
it.
yeah.
You know,
I thought
they're-
you guys were talking
they're
about the
moving their
2020
fucking
election
minds,
for
yeah.
a minute there. I thought you guys were
Oh.
talking about the current
That too.
administration. I guess we're talking about
politics,
things.
no politics.
I'm not talking about politics.
Right, right.
The chat's going crazy. We've got people accusing others of being gilf lovers. That's Nosferatu the vampire. We have shots fired with Wakazashi's tea house, calling out Nosferatu. Purple Valkyrie drops the woo-woo knowledge. And yes, in fact, Antarctica used to be a jungle. Not only that, it appeared on maps that were used in the 15th century, and yet we did not confirm the coastline of the
Right.
Antarctica until, I believe, the early 1900s.
Can't quite
Yeah.
prove that exactly, but there's a lot of evidence leading to that. Yeah, yep. But this movie, like I said, is got a great build up right from the get go. Gets you going with a little bit of action. You can't
Mhm.
you can't turn away from this film unless you're just not into this type of stuff.
What do you think of the music at this point?
Oh,
That's great.
it's perfect. And the 80s, everything kind of had a synth thing, and this one was a little more minimalist. And I think that's what works about this movie is it doesn't have your typical horror soundtrack. It has more of that foreboding, weird soundtrack. And I think if you put this soundtrack, and I'm not saying they're equal, but if you put this soundtrack up against what Blade Runner's soundtrack is to it, I think this soundtrack really does make this movie. If you did this movie with something else,
Right.
I'm not entirely sure it would be the same experience.
Mesmerizing is this.
Mhm.
I know it
Haunting.
follows after the heartbeat as part of the rhythm to
Mhm.
kind of give the whole humanity type of feel to it. I do know Carpenter was so busy with this film, with directing and editing, that he couldn't do the soundtrack, which he does like to do for a lot of his films.
Mhm.
So he passed it over to a friend. I want to say like a German composer of some kind.
That
was-
makes
it was
sense.
It was Ennio. It was Ennio Morricone who did the.
Marconi.
Oh, he
speak-
did.
Yeah. So by
Okay.
the way, do you want to hear? I'm going to take a risk. Do you want to hear some of the?
You're gonna get nuked. You're gonna get
Dun,
nuked.
dun, dun.
I have it turned down, so I don't think it'll be too bad.
Dun dun. Dun dun.
I'm actually playing the arbitrator title,
Dun.
The burning, yeah.
the burning,
The thawing.
the thawing.
Right.
Okay, no, okay. Wrong track. I wanted to get the burning one.
I can never tell if Nosferatu the vampire is bullshitting me or not. He says Cocoon is his favorite movie of all time.
I've only seen it once or twice, and I barely remember. All I remember is a swimming pool, alien
Yeah.
cocoons in the pool, old people, Wilford Brimley, Don Amici was in it, I believe.
I saw it in the theater, and that's the last time I saw it. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's Henry's right there in the chat. They used part of the score in the Hateful Eight, a part that was unused. So that
was it?
That was
That's
fun
cool.
watching that movie because I instantly recognized it. When they started playing it in that movie, I thought he actually took the music from the thing, but I guess not. What I think they
That's
did is
crazy.
I think they used that same music that they used in Tarantino's film in some of the special features of
Oh,
the movie.
okay.
That's why it sounded familiar to me.
Well, it's like the extra footage from Blade Runner, or no, from The Shining, with the forest B-roll stuff when they're around in Colorado in the hotel, the Overlook.
Yeah.
They actually tagged that onto the end of Blade Runner when they made them reshoot the ending to make it have a happy ending in the original theatrical release. It's funny how these horror movies, they'll reuse some of these B-rolls from the 80s and different things,
There's those low tone synthesizers and the light piano tings.
Yeah, this is actually the theme for when they go into the Norwegian base. So I poorly have my I have all my audio in a single folder, so I can't even tell which movies for which. I don't want to accidentally play the Psycho theme, for instance. But here we're at the United States base, and of course here these guys are just kind of, they're not doing anything. They're just chilling, just another day. I don't know if this is like the lunchtime or the break time, siesta time, but you have Palmer there playing pinball. You have Windows in the background playing guitar. You have Copper and Blair playing ping pong. You have Fuchs. Fuchs is right here just reading because he's Fuchs, and of course Gary, the commander of the base, is right there. And I don't know if there's anyone else here, but yeah. So we get a nice, guys get a nice little view of who's in the base.
I love that pinball machine. I love that analog old school pinball machine. Those are so cool.
Right.
And here we meet the hero, the main star, the Chad of this base, the helicopter pilot himself, R.J. McCready, and he's playing chess against a what does he say? Scheming bitch or something?
I think it's an Apple II. My dad had that same program.
Cheating bitch.
It was the Apple II, and it was Sargon. It cost $80 for that program in 1980-82. So that's like $500 or $600 now. Seriously. Yeah.
Insane.
Mm-hmm. So here he's drinking some, I don't know. I was actually trying to look for that scotch earlier, but I couldn't find it.
I think it's made up. There's a bottle of it in our action figure, I believe.
Yeah.
Salty.
Yeah.
I don't think it's made up. I think it's real, actually.
It looks like J&B. Yeah. I haven't shown this off. And Snow has this. He has both ones, but I have this particular one because it has the McCready with his, look at all the beard glory in this thing. And I can do this. I know how to live stream, but you can see all the different heads.
Yeah.
And there's the sombrero. But yeah, there's the liquor bottle in the bottom there. Yeah.
Right.
Cannot recommend this action figure at all. It's really good.
So he loses. He gets checkmated by the cheating bitch. And so what does he do? He pours the whiskey. He wastes some whiskey. He pours the whiskey inside the. Let me see if I can get it. Here we go. I'm gonna click it really quickly.
Guess he didn't want to play it anymore.
Doesn't want to play it. It's like
It was
totally an Apple.
Then it was the first goddamn week of winter.
And we got Ghosts in the Craig here. It says favorite horror movie of all time. Yeah, I was asking on Twitter. I made a poll. I'm like, who thinks that the John Carpenter The Thing is the GOAT?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And apparently I don't tweet enough because I only get like maybe 2 or 3 or 4 votes, whereas other people get like thousands and thousands and thousands of engagements. So I'm just like, oh, I gotta keep doing it. I just have to keep trying. Stupid algorithm.
It's always in a top 5 of most people's lists.
Agreed.
Especially people that love horror. Yeah.
Oh yeah, especially.
Sorry, go ahead, Nipper. I was gonna say Dempsey says his favorite horror film is Event Horizon, and his favorite overall film is Princess Bride.
That's a good one.
I love Princess Bride. I watched it so many times in the 80s and probably drove a lot of girls away quoting those lines.
86 was Princess Bride.
I want to say 86
I think so.
or 87.
I think roughly around that
I'm
time.
always a year off. But Event Horizon is a trippy AF movie. I don't watch it very often because it's so...
Yeah, that one's
It's
wild.
the kind of horror that I kind of...
Video game, Dead Space is kind of based off that and The Thing.
It's like a remake of The Black Hole. Like the whole idea, there's this singularity, and you go into the singularity, and you end up like in the black hole, the Disney black hole. You when they go into the black hole, they end up in hell. I saw that in the theater.
Yeah, with Maximilian the robot. You guys, if you really want to see one of the world's worst movies ever made, which again they were trying to copy Star Wars, The Black Hole lost a lot of money for Disney as did Tron.
I remember that. Yeah.
I liked the robot. The robot was the best part of the movie. Like especially and he had the Rowdy and McDowell robot, and then he had the evil robot. Was the best. That was the best. That was the best. Good guy, bad guy dynamic in that movie. The human characters were not so interesting.
Thank you, Ernest Borgnine. Ernest Borgnine is in a science fiction movie. What were they smoking? back then? Just gonna ask that.
Well, you know, Ernest Borgnine was in a horror movie. It was called Willard. Remember Willard, about the guy with the rats?
Oh yeah, I
Yes.
know that one.
Yeah. Yeah, Willard plays the bad boss or the evil or the mean boss. So he's like the only victim in that whole movie. So
Marty
I'm waiting
McFly's
for multiple deaths by Willard, but he only kills one person in the whole movie, and then he dies himself by betraying the rats. The rats kill him. That's the end of the movie. Spoiler alert. Sorry.
Rats.
But yeah, so going back to the thing. So the helicopter chase is resuming. We go back to the helicopter chase. They're still chasing the dog. I think they're throwing bombs at it this time. Everybody hears what's going on. I gotta hide this comment, by the way. They hear what's going on. They're like, "What the hell? What the hell is this? Or what the hell is even that?" And then everybody's just looking and looking and more looking. And here's all the grenades right here. And I think, he throws it back. He's trying to throw it forward, but he accidentally lets it go, and he throws it behind him to the point where the guy that throws it runs ahead. I assume that was him, and the other guy tries to get it, but he ends up blowing up with it, and it blows up the entire helicopter. Let me see if I get it right here.
I guess it was just too close to the helicopter. It ignited something, and they both.
Or it's because it's a movie, and you have to have a nice little spectacle.
Right. I always wondered what actually triggered the explosion of it, because it kind of happened to the side of it, but it is what it is.
I don't know if you've ever seen Japanese Japanese action adventure shows like your Sentai or your Metal Heroes, but like there's points where like the hero kicks a rubber suited monster down a hill, and for no reason the monster just explodes. He just rolls down the hill and then explodes just like that. So I mean, it's all for the spectacle.
My guess is they probably only had one take to do for that blowing up of the helicopter, because this is, of course, before CGI, kids. Yeah. So they probably had one helicopter to blow up on the budget, and that's why we got the shot that we did. Where it's a little off when it happens, but it still works.
Yeah, and so here we have so the Norwegian guy is trying to shoot at the Husky, and he's screaming in Norwegian. Nobody knows what the hell he's saying, and he ends up shooting. What the hell's his name? What the hell? Let me get
Bennings.
Bennings. He ends up shooting Bennings in the thigh, and I'm like, thinking like, when I first saw this, I was like, okay, that's fine. I guess he only got shot in the leg, but now that I'm older and I know more about, like, you get shot in the leg and the thigh, especially in the front, you could die. Like,
well, if you get hit in the femoral artery, unless you have a trained combat surgeon who needs to put a clamp on that damn thing, and then you need to get emergency surgery, you will bleed out extraordinarily quickly.
And what's funny is I learned like the only time I've seen a death like that where someone just simply got shot in the leg and bled out like that was actually in an anime. Believe it or not, it was not ever in a live action. No. It was actually in an anime that I saw.
There are several parts on the body, if you know where they are, where you could stick a fork in somebody there. And then there's one right here in the back of your shoulder, on your. It's called the subclavarian artery. Death in 30 seconds.
Oh,
anyway, I don't know why I'm telling you that, but yeah,
because that's what you do. Sorry,
it's true.
No, it's my Mario. Get to see my Mario background right there.
I was gonna say, Mario was in this. I don't remember that.
It was Mario Galaxy. One of my favorite games. It's one of my backgrounds.
I don't even think the Nintendo was quite out yet. It might have been the next year or two, but not.
Famicom came out in '83 and the NES came out in '85. So Famicom is the Japanese equivalent.
3 years later.
Yeah, and the system looked totally different. The cartridges were different.
Style kids. Atari style.
Atari.
Oh yeah, no, 2600 was out. We had a Commodore 64. Before that, a VIC-20, and then we went to Apple IIc. But yeah.
Didn't E.T. come out the same year as the movie on Atari? 1982, greatest game of all time.
Oh yeah, God, they wanted $89 for that, and it was
that piece of shit. No way. And this was 80s.
It was 80s. It's like $400. It was like $400 back in the day. Yeah, when the Atari 2600 came out, it was $500 in 80. 1980, 81 money. So
Wow.
you're talking like $2,000 for that damn thing, and then you got to buy that shitty ET game. You know?
Wow, that's just crazy.
Well, it was better. It was better than Pong because that's all we had, dude. Was Pong. You know?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I played Pong. It's okay. It's not as good as Super Mario Brothers, in my opinion. But yeah, so here, going back to this, they're all down. They're all like, they're just he's advancing on the base, and of course, Gary, the captain, basically shoots the Norwegian dead. And because there's a language barrier, they have no idea what's going on. They have no idea what's up. So yeah. So we get that, and of course we see everybody kind of gathered outside. Right here, they're looking at they figure out that they're Norwegians, and here's the dog. So this is the kennel master. This is Clark, I believe is his name, and this is the husky that no huskies were hurt during the making of this movie. At least I believe.
No, dude, no.
Okay. But so here we have the huskies here, and so they just let the husky kind of roam around the base.
Yeah, which was funny because that's one of those moments where you're like, how come they didn't think to lock the dog up right away, do something with the dog, considering the fact that they were shooting at the dog, but they just kind of got the whole cabin fever type of idea, that they just lost their fucking minds.
Well, it was also 82. You know what I mean? And there was I know I'm making gross generalizations, but there was a right and there was wrong. And only crazy people do that. How can an animal, I wish the world was more like that.
Well, they even say
things worked. Things worked.
Yeah.
It's just like they must be fucking crazy. That's all that it is. As opposed to my pronouns are Z and Zer.
Yeah, Purple's right. The dog's name was Jed. Yeah.
Oh, is that true? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. Very well trained dog. Kind of skittish, if I remember right, but had that perfect scene of walking down the hallway, snooping from door to door, which you'll see here pretty soon.
If you can train a husky, God bless you. Having done husky rescue, my dog learned how to open the window on the 3rd floor, jumped out the window, and I had to go get it from a humane society 28 miles away. That's after my dog ate my whole salmon that I had marinating in the refrigerator because he opened the refrigerator up to eat the salmon. I love huskies, but you can't train them. I'll tell you that.
If I remember right, Jed was part wolf. Maybe Purple remembers this or not. I believe he was like half and half or something like that.
It almost looked like a Mal husky mix because of the size, but it didn't look broad enough on the shoulders. But it did have longer legs. Yeah, it's weird.
So I like this scene right here. So the scene really establishes just how isolated they are from the rest of the world. Because here we have Windows. He's the radio operator, because I'm a Star Trek fan, I like to say communications officer, even though he doesn't really act like an officer. He's just like, he's like, hey man, I can't get a hold of anybody. What the heck? What do you want from me? Come on. And there's a point where there's twice that he gets harassed. First he gets harassed here by Blair. Blair's like, come on, dude, come on. We gotta report this. I need to eat my oatmeal. I need my golf. I need my diabetes medication. I'm sorry, I didn't. But that
to talk to you about diabetes.
Yeah, right here. And he's my favorite. You ever see Seinfeld? Remember he makes a cameo in Seinfeld as the postmaster general. He's like, why? He's like, why? What are you doing with the post? Why are you protesting the post office? Why are you protesting me? I'm a general that runs the post office, and I don't like it when people. Bother my golf. It's just, and Kramer's like, I'm so sorry. I'll never do it again.
Oh Lord.
But yeah, so here we learn that he can't get a hold of anybody, and we never really, in this entirety of this movie, we never hear any outside contact. Like, these guys are alone the whole time, like, with the exception of those crazy Norwegians, those crazy Swedes. So McCready's crazy Swedes, they're alone here on Antarctica. I mean, maybe there's other bases, but they're probably way far out there. Like,
They
I mean,
like
how
being-
Everybody has slices, so it's of geography, and some countries have larger pieces than others, so they
So-
are all over the place. You know, there's
Right.
no roads. Clearly.
is my question for you is Antarctica like as large or as like long as the United States, like thousands and thousands of miles across? I'm
I
assuming
wanna
it's circular. I'm assuming it's
coastal range,
circular.
I would say yes. Yeah.
Well, it's just as circular as North America is. If you were to turn the globe, if you were to put North America on the South Pole, you know, but it
Yeah.
has kind of a like a splat kind of a thing. But it does have little inlets, and it has peninsulas and stuff like that. As
Yeah.
far as size goes, I want to say it's like 4 or 5 times the size of Texas, but I could be wrong. I'm gonna look that
Okay.
up.
But yeah, so here is just a great moment, just a great opportunity to just really set up the stakes right here. So once again, so they decide. So I think Copper here wants to figure out why what happened, why what happened. So they end up leaving him and McCready. He ends up taking McCready. McCready's the pilot, helicopter pilot. He decides they decide to go and investigate the what do you call it, the Norwegian base. So they get up there.
Check it out. I was wrong.
What?
Antarctica is flipping huge, Brian. I gave you the link.
How big?
Or
Alright, let me see.
it's up there. Yeah.
Oh wow.
That's why
Wow.
I thought I didn't think it was that big.
Wow, it
So
completely.
this thing is freaking
Yeah.
huge. It is
Big.
freaking huge.
A lot of coastland.
It would take a long time to. It would take a long time to hop or to hike through that continent.
And
Oh,
you
you
can
ain't
see
going
the
It is a
mountain
continent.
chain.
Yeah.
Well, you can see the mountain chain, and it bisects kind of on an S shape about almost near middle. But where those plates hit, that's where there's this crazy magnetic anomaly. And it's really, really trippy. And that's not just me pulling stuff out of my ass. There's some crazy stuff going down there. That's why China suddenly said, we need to be there. I wonder what's there.
I'm
Anyway,
assuming this is South America, right on the left, the upper left
Yeah.
hand corner. That's
Yeah.
like okay,
yeah. Chile, Argentina,
yeah, okay. That's man, I'm enough through lots of beachfront property. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, get a tan. Get a tan.
And
in
we
that island.
and we got Santa Cars here. What's up, Santa Car 7th Legion? Welcome. Thanks for coming by. A member at the Wings of Nerdporial level. That's the mid level. So just shout out for that. And if you like this content, if you like what I do, you want to support, join the Nerdporial Continuum. It's cheaper. The shameless plug level is cheaper than a cup of coffee, because especially with inflation, coffee is going to be $100 pretty soon. Just like in Back to the Future Part 2. And Pepsi will not be free. You still have to
It's
fucking
true.
pay for it.
It's true.
If you want Pepsi, pal, you gotta pay for it.
It's true.
Give me a Pepsi. free.
Everything Nerdporial said is true. Yeah.
So here we see them leaving, and then we get a very interesting shot right here. So here's Knowles the cook. He's playing Stevie Wonder. Bum 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 bum. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna be zinged for
Very
sure.
superstitious.
Writings on a wall.
And of course, poor Bennings is like,
Dirty
turn that
little
shit down because I'm an old
baby."
grumpy old man. I'm a grumpy old bald guy. Yeah, there he is. He's like, turn that shit down. And what does Niles do? He doesn't. Just leaves it on. And so while this is going on, we get this nice creepy movie camera movement from the Huskies' point of view. And this is great Dean Cundy work right here. Like we're going. And of course here the dog's just is lurking. Like, the dog's bad news. Like, we know something's up with the dog. He just is sneaking around.
But that's
And
Huskies all the time. In all fairness, they're always just sneaking
Well, they're-
around doing shit they shouldn't do, trying to kill you, but not intentionally. Except this one is.
Oh, I mean, it's so the predator. Their predatory nature.
They're the trickster of dogs. But I didn't mean to. You're absolutely right, Nerdporial. It's just funny how the husky.
But this
That's
husky
kinda how
looks
they
actually
are.
really happy. This husky looks really. Maybe
That's
he's
how they
happy.
look.
Maybe
they're
that's-
like, oh my god.
Maybe it's because he knows he's gonna be having some nice little prey right now.
You
I
can
have
see
to.
the wolf in the paws. The paws are way too big and the legs are way too long for a husky. So yeah, like Purple Valkyrie said, it was half husky, half Siberian. You can always tell by the legs.
Okay, so I have to ask you. I have this. Knocked down to two people. It's either the geologist dude, the one that the geologist. Let me see. What's his name? Norris. It's either Norris or it's Palmer. So Palmer's the one that says, "You gotta be fucking kidding!" While he's smoking a joint. Or it's the heavy set Norris, the geologist, the one that. Well, let's just say
I thought it was Norris. I thought it
you
was
think
Norris.
because it kind of looks like it, kind of by the hair.
That's what I
And
thought.
yeah,
Yeah.
so you kind of wonder like who got hit first. It's always interesting, like you wonder when they got hit, like who hit who and when they got hit. And everything. Like, you wonder
Yeah,
when.
my guess was always Norris as well.
Mhm.
'Cause, Childs and Palmer get shown together alone in a room a little bit later, smoking a joint, watching old episodes of Let's Make a Deal or whatever that show was called.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
let's
right.
make a deal.
So if they were alone together and Palmer was infected already, then he would have got Childs. You would think
Yeah, that's true.
it'd be an opportunity.
So here we're back on we're back in the desert, and they land and wow, look at this. This is Norwegian base. Look at this. This is all completely just burned down and frozen in, and you see nothing but like you see corpses and wreckage.
It's like Detroit.
Yeah, it's like Detroit or the South Side of Chicago sometimes. I don't
True
live there,
story.
though. So they go in. And they go in and they think they find the place is frozen. There's
Bloodsickles.
bloodsickles. Yeah,
They based the last 30 minutes or so of, well, actually, technically the whole movie, the prequel they made in 2011, off of this short little 2-3 minute scene.
Wow.
The entire movie was based off it. They totally recreated everything,
Wow.
shot for shot, lined up these guys' deaths and stuff to make it perfectly aligned in the other movie. So that was the one brilliant thing that movie did. But that was about it.
I mean, look at this guy. This guy's got two mouths right here. You could use him as a puppet. Sno Dub, you ever consider that, using him as a puppet? Just
Wait, what? A decapitated head?
yeah,
or
yeah.
almost.
I'm
Yeah.
for it. I think you should, Snow.
The
I
amount
think
of force that
You're
took
the puppeteer.
to do that, it's pretty intense.
Yeah.
I'm always down to experiment with new puppets and whatever makes
Meat puppets.
whatever makes the
I'm-
audience.
I'm so bad. I'm so
Yeah.
bad.
I'm going to shout out. Thank you. I want to say thank you to Sadukar 7th Legion. You're welcome. All praise goes to Purple Valkyrie for her work on that Dark Passages reading, but you're very welcome for the video animation. So thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, so we see. So yeah, so this guy got a pretty rough end right here. I think he opened his vein too. I don't know if it's the same guy, but I think he also opened his vein. You see like a bloodsicle on the floor too. Let me see if I can get it. Right here.
Yeah, the wrist and the throat, if I
Wow.
remember right.
Yeah. It's so crazy. So they're going through like journals, like the doc's going through journals. And ultimately we get to, there's the lab, and then we find something that's a homage to the original movie, the ice sheet.
A block of ice.
A block of ice, same thing, same size, same thing. They're wondering what the hell was in it. Was there a life form? What was going on? So like what do I say? Giant block of ice, nod to the original Howard Hawks film. Doc gathers all materials, including journals and videotapes, to take back with a carcass of an unknown organism. Let's see what this carcass looks like. So here, so they have, there's nothing but bodies out there. There's a lot of gas. Oh, look at this. Wow. Grizzly. It's getting cold out too, getting cold and windy. Let's see if I can.
What is that in there? Is that a man in there? Get a shovel, Doc.
Yeah, they're here, right here. And of course, we're back at the thing. They land, and of course the dog was waiting. The husky was waiting for him.
Well, yeah, he's like reinforcements. Nice.
Yep. I want to get that iconic shot of them unwrapping it right here.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, look at that.
That was so creepy. That was so
Yes.
creepy when I was 12 in 1982. You did not see stuff like this. This movie went different places, you know? And the horror was not in like the crazy chop 'em up stuff. It wasn't this. The practical effects, just as much as the soundtrack, drove this movie. It just,
Yes.
it's horrifying.
Yeah.
It's still horrifying 40 years later.
And this, I think, is a pretty much a silent scene. Like they're just reacting to it. They're just looking at it. And they're like, "What the hell is this?" You don't even need to
Barbecue.
have dialogue here.
Jelly
Yeah.
needed to be used for this. So rest in peace to buckets and buckets of KY jelly.
Mm.
Oh, is that
This
what
is
that
how
was?
this is how you do not barbecue a brisket. I just don't tell other people.
Wow, look at
Right.
that. I mean, just look at that. I mean, the whole like
That's
Rob
Botine there. Yeah.
Bottin just taking like two faces and merging them like that. Like just my
He was
gosh.
given a free palette to basically do whatever his mind could come up with, and Carpenter let him go wild. You know, he's like, well, if you can build it, let's see it. You know, and granted, not everything went according to plan. There was a especially with I think Norris had a pretty bad thing that went down, but there's
they had a different thing for Norris than what we see in the movie.
no, the same thing, but they had to do two different takes for it. The first one and didn't go well, so yeah.
Oh yeah, that's okay. It makes sense now because they had to cut, and then all of a sudden, like you see something, and then you see something else. So we don't see what happens in between. So yeah, but yeah, this right here, wow. Let's see. Okay, and here's Windows. He's falling asleep. I don't know what he's reading. The magazines, the porn, maybe. I don't know.
And once again, the movie's setting you up with the fear factor and just the eeriness of knowing there's something creeping around, and all these people are already by themselves, isolated in different rooms.
Yeah.
And it starts going through your mind at this point of, oh shit, this thing could be spreading before they even realize what's going on yet.
I'll just show it right here. Like this right here is just, it's a silent scene. You see this type of movement. Like this is just creepy as hell.
Yeah.
This is like, something is lurking inside this base.
Right.
And it's a closed universe because outside those doors, you die. You're going to freeze to death, unless you're in a heated vehicle or whatever. But everything in this environment is sort of your World War II surplus stuff. Everything's battleship gray. Everything is institutional military grade early 80s stuff.
I mean, this is a military. I believe this is a military base, a military science science base. So yeah, where they do research and everything is.
But it's crazy.
Under wraps.
I mean, you are trapped on this just as much as you would be on a spaceship, like in Aliens, and it's that closed universe thing where you're screwed. In
Antarctica, nobody can hear you scream.
Very isolated.
Except the wind.
Right. Yeah, the isolation factor is always there. And they always mention how cold it is by saying, first week of winter. So more cold is on the way. It's not getting better. Yeah.
And so here now we have Blair. So Blair is the senior biologist. Copper's the physician. Blair right here is the senior biologist. And
for me, when the Blair starts to get taken over, he doesn't know it yet, but the process is already starting.
Okay, I was curious about Blair. I was wondering who or what got to him. I don't know. Was it because he's not wearing the proper personal protective equipment? And Salty, I know you know all about that stuff.
There's a perfect fucking scene coming up where he literally is touching the dog alien. This is after the dog scene.
Yeah.
With his pencil, and then turns around and sticks the thing in his mouth.
I know.
I forgot about
but again,
that.
It's the 80s, man. I mean, it's just like, what the hell is this thing? It's one of those
lack
things
of
where
safety protocol.
It is a level removed from reality. That's the thing. This is so out of any frame of reference.
This is not
that
something
you're
new.
not even thinking about that. You know what
You
I
know
mean?
what I'd be,
But
you know what
Snow's
I'd
right,
be
man.
wearing if I
Snow's
was
right.
if I was Blair right now. You know what I'd be wearing one of those dishwasher gloves where they go all the way up to your elbow.
in a hazmat
That's-
suit.
Or
Yeah.
hazmat. Okay, even better, hazmat. I'll say
Right.
yeah.
I'll
hazmat
tell you
suit.
one better. I would get the flamethrowers and burn that shit outside and pretend it never happened.
Yeah.
You know why? Because it's not my problem. This is one of those things that falls into not our effing problem. You know what I mean? Like, we're stuck here in the middle of a base in Antarctica. Okay, whatever this is, we should be barricading so its friends don't come at us. That's how
Leave it
that's how
out.
I roll. You know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Leave it outside so it can freeze again.
So let's see. Like right now, he's just cutting into this. Oh,
Sure. Why not?
he's just cutting it with just some simple plastic gloves.
It's like that fake meat Bill Gates is making. That's what it
And
looks
this
like.
is probably because of this scene and a few others is why Ebert and Siskel and all them
Mhm.
butchered this in the critics, because they were like, it's just a dissection and it's just how gory can it get. Da, 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 da. They didn't take into consideration that the bodily horror was a character of the movie. It was literally the monster. It was the monster within. So it's. He didn't see it. The most critics didn't see it right away, which was sad. Nowadays they see it, but not back then.
Yeah, I mean, I've read some Siskel and Ebert takes, some especially Roger Ebert takes, especially on older movies that I've done retrospectives on. Heck,
Right.
Roger Ebert said Planet of the Apes was nothing special. He said,
Oh
Planet
no,
of the
they
Apes was
dumped on a
nothing-
lot of stuff. They dumped
Yeah.
on a lot of things, and I
And-
remember watching that. Everybody watched it though. It was on
And-
TV.
They said
Everybody
Army
took
of
it
Darkness
seriously.
And they were all calling Dirty Harry fascist. They were calling the Dirty Harry, the first Dirty Harry film, fascist because he,
Well,
They called,
shoots.
they called Army of Darkness stupid.
Army of
Yeah.
Darkness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody calls Army of Darkness stupid.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Yeah,
Nobody.
not
I'll
the
be
chin.
right back.
You don't talk that way about the chin.
No, you
So-
don't. No, you don't.
Right.
But yes, they're like pencil in the mouth while they're doing this.
Right,
Yeah,
right. They all
I
got
see what you're
mouths,
talking about.
putting on the alien, right. So, like I said, I think this is where Blair begins the process, and it shows a great little low-budget computer scene later on that kind of elaborates a little bit more clearly on how this thing can take you over.
Wow, look at that! This is wow. Just can you imagine having a fate like this, just being forced to merge with another, with an organism like this,
Right.
and die like that in fear? It's just like this character was screaming as he died. I'm assuming it was he because the 2011 movie told me. So I don't mean to trigger anybody. I don't want to assume genders. So like
hard to say. I'm trying to remember what Bottin said specifically about this one, but I just know that his imagination was going wild at the time, and anything he could think of that would contribute to bodily horror, he was all into it.
Oh, game shows. I was not alive in the 70s and early 80s, so I can't really speak to this. But
This is an awesome show.
So this is, what is this again? Let's Make a Deal. I don't think I've
Is that
ever
what it
seen
was called?
Let's make a deal with Monty Hall.
All right.
What's behind door number 3, Monty? Yep.
Yep.
And door number 3. Okay. I thought the Doors was a Price is Right thing. I guess not. I guess I was wrong.
We'll talk in the green room after.
It was
Okay.
similar to Price is Right. I mean, it had a lot of similarities. The guests would dress up like different characters. I remember. Yeah.
I'm assuming everything they watched was on tape. Like they didn't have any reception, any satellite
Well,
reception.
no.
like
You're
TV
correct.
antenna.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't
Yeah.
VHS, it was 1 inch. So they were these huge tapes. This is pre-VHS. Yep.
What else did they? So it was a pre VHS. What they? I know. I know Betamax. That's not the same thing, right?
No, Beta was smaller. Of course, I'm chewing. So 1 inch tape is what they were using for television studios and things like that. So could that
There
be
it
a
is.
VHS?
It's VHS. Yeah.
Is it?
VHS.
That must
Yeah.
have been an early one because a lot of the military installations used the 1 inch tapes and they took forever to replace the VHS one. So
Oh, I
my
see.
bad. I'm wrong.
We had a VHS player at this point. I think this is right at the beginning of the beta VHS wars. If I'm
They
not
were like
mistaken,
$2,000 back in the day
right
to
at
get
this
one of those
time.
damn things.
Yeah, it was a big deal if your parents
Yeah.
owned one. They spent some money.
I
My dad bought
remember.
Beta. My dad bought Beta.
Oh
Yeah.
True
no!
story.
Oh,
True
no.
story.
My
I
dad made
remember.
got
I remember.
VHS.
I remember going to the video. Now I remember in the late '80s, early '90s, where I was a kid. I remember like looking at the movies. I used to mainly look at the Nintendo games because that's usually why I always rented was Nintendo games. But every now and then I'd look at the movies, and there would always be a VHS version, and they'd have a smaller version called, and they'd say Beta. I'm like, what the hell's Beta? I'm like, what is Beta? So
I was
Well,
there for the DVD
yeah.
transfer, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
actually betted on bet on PS2 and the transfer of that, and I also bet on PS3 and Blu-ray over HD DVD. And won
Yeah.
that one too.
I got that HD DVD player with the Xbox, and then got some of those movies, and then of course, just like Beta, history repeats itself. I got screwed on that one.
Coming. Seeing
should
it
have got
coming.
a
They should
PS3.
add it built in.
Whatever porn
Yeah.
goes with whatever porn picks becomes
Well,
the
you had to
standard.
make
True
Yeah.
story.
Two, because PlayStation 2 revolutionized DVD players. It put a DVD
True.
player in everybody's home.
That's
when
right.
PlayStation
That's
came out.
Right.
True.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, we didn't have a. We didn't. I don't think we. Even though I think DVDs came out in '98, I believe DVD players, everything came out in
Around that
1998.
time. Yeah, that sounds right.
Well,
97.
commercially viable, yeah. You could buy a DVD player then for $200, as opposed to lots more money before that.
One of the last VHS movies I bought was The Phantom Menace, if I remember correctly.
Oh, dude, I had that
Oh.
whole set of the Star Wars remastered on VHS back in the day. The silver
Yeah.
box ones, letterbox, yeah.
I think The Matrix might have been another one. That was like one of the very
Mm-hmm.
last VHS movies
think
before I
the-
transferred over.
Yeah, we had. I think one of the last VHS movies that we remember buying was, I think Harry Potter and the Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I
They
think.
would still put out the real big movies for a few more years when DVDs started getting hot, I remember. So probably early 2000s, they finally canceled. You could look it up. I can't remember what the last
Yeah.
VHS was produced, but it was some big movie like Jurassic Park or 2.
I
or
think you're
something.
right.
I'm surprised after 24 years they're still making DVDs. Yeah, it's Blu-ray never really phased out DVDs. Like they still
No.
sell DVDs and Blu-rays. And now they have the third. Now they have
Oh, it's 4K. Yeah.
4K Blu-ray now. So you have three different formats of discs to buy. I don't know.
I haven't even
It's-
got a 4K yet.
There's a reason for that because they're not making any new movies that nobody wants to buy.
Right.
So I'm serious. So the reason how you get people to give you more money is to come out with a higher resolution format of things that people actually want to see.
Their favorite movies. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Lord
Oh,
of
I
the
can
Rings
watch my
extended.
favorite movie in even more detail?
That's
Damn it, I
right.
gotta buy that one too.
I know.
Yes. It's probably
They
why I own a DVD and a Blu-ray version of the thing.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
Yeah, I actually got rid of my Blu-ray version. Now I just have the 4K of the thing now. So
Oh, I don't have that yet. I ain't that
Buy
special.
physical media. Buy physical media and buy.
yep, I agree. I totally agree.
And buy backup media players that are not hooked up to the internet, just like with Cylons, for the same reasons. Okay.
I still have to see the original. Speaking of Silence, I still have to see the original Battlestar Galactica.
I gotta go swoop up a couple more PlayStation 3s.
Yeah, baby.
So here we have. So here they're just chilling. It's nighttime, pool, playing poker and everything. And of course there's our favorite weed smoker Palmer, and he's sharing it with. So they're so Childs here is I think the chief mechanic, and Palmer here is the assistant. So kind of like Brett and I don't know if this was meant to be like Brett and Parker from Alien, because Parker was the chief and he was black, and Brett was the assistant. I don't know. For some reason, now that I'm seeing this, now I'm thinking of it. I'm thinking there's a parallel there. I don't know.
Thank God they had weed and alcohol during this horrible event. So it
At least
could have been
alcohol.
worse.
You had if you remember Alien, they had weed. I don't know if they had weed, but they had like alcohol. They had pornography in the engineering section of the ship. So
Yeah,
I'm
space
sure
weed.
there was weed there too.
Having spent a lot of time in auto shops, if my dad's my friends' dads were mechanics. It was all titty magazine stuffs all over the place, like calendars from, car companies and tire companies. And so that's all period accurate IMHO.
And Dempsey says the Every Which Way line of movies were gold. Oh, yes, they were. Yes, they were. If you want to see Clint Eastwood being the crap out of dudes, that's a great movie. And not only that, he has a pet orangutan that goes on trips with him too. So there you go. So everybody's kind of chilling. It's nighttime. I think the husky is kind of going around, and they're like Clark, what the hell? Why the hell is the husky wandering? He's like, I don't know. And they're like, okay, well, you gotta take him away. So I think he takes the dog and he puts him in the kennel right here. But the thing is, the dog is just doing his thing. He's doing his thing. And all of a sudden, I think all the other dogs start to freak out. Oh, a little too far. The other dogs start to freak out. They're screaming. They're biting. And wow, this is just so crazy. It's just, let me see.
This is the hardest scene for me to watch of this movie. I still look away.
Like,
when
how
I hear
did they
dogs
how did they do this with
howling.
them getting them to bite the mesh on the gate and on the fence?
I had a husky that chewed through his kennel.
Oh, really?
So let's be honest, this is probably not metal. They were probably using another substance or something like that was probably coated in gravy that would have never hurt the dog. So,
oh, is that what that was, that they were shooting at the dog?
oh God, I hate this scene. I can't. Oh, dude. I mean, seriously, it still fucks me up.
Yeah, sorry, sorry about that. But yeah, so the dog, so the kennel dog, or what, the kennel thing, I'll call it, turns into a spider-looking thing because arachnids are gross, and we have a natural aversion to arachnids. So why not have it turn into an arachnid? Whatever Robertine decided to think of and came up with, that's what we get. So it's infecting the dog right here, and this is where things get weird. Of course, Clark goes and investigates. He's like, why are they all barking? Why are they all barking? And then we get a nice little jump scare right about here. So he opens the gate, or he tries to open the gate, and the dogs just knock the gate open and they run off. Like, they're like, we're hightailing out of here. And of course, here McCready I think wants to fix himself another drink or something. And he hears, and he's like, he pulls the fire alarm right away. So like, he's not an idiot. Like, he knows something's up. He knows something has gone wrong or something.
If you listen real closely to the audio right there, you can hear like some screaming of some kind. It's very faint, but it's there.
Yeah. Okay. And that's probably why he reacted the way he did. So now everybody's awake because of the alarm, and everybody's here. I think he's got the rifle. Gary has the gun. And they're bringing in fire extinguishers, and I think they have Childs go and get the flamethrower. So here we see the dog. We see the dog transformation right here. Wow, look at that!
They're making this stuff in China. They're making this stuff in China right now.
They are. That'll be our next NECA toy, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, really? They're making this dog thing.
They're making creatures like this. I was trying to make a joke, but it's
that's true.
You're talking about like Chimera.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. This part.
Yeah, I remember when Reagan had a chimp. It was Bonzo, and he did a series of and I'm speaking to Nosferatu. Yeah, Bonzo, Bedtime for Bonzo. Yeah.
They showed a quick little glimpse of the up-and-coming dog monster from the NECA toy line at the San Diego Comic-Con. It is exquisite, and I can't wait to get my hands on it.
There really was a good PS2 Xbox game that's very underrated. Huh.
I have it.
Oh, I see.
It's kind of a sequel, actually.
But look at this. Like, oof. This is just, wow. Oh, it's so hard to see. I can see why.
Yeah, that's why I'm not looking at the screen right now, because it just creeps me out. No offense.
And this is creepy too. Like, this thing just turns into, I don't even know what the hell this is now.
It could have been 1,000 different organisms on 1,000 different worlds.
Yeah, you kind of wonder. Like, the big mystery is, what was it originally? Was there a beginning? Of course, they're all here. They're all looking in. and of course, Childs has arrived with the flamethrower, and he's just like staring at it. They're like, "Shoot it, Childs! Shoot it! What the hell are you waiting for?
Torch it. Yeah.
Torch it!" And I think it's a moment when like it opens a little flower thing. It
Dog
starts,
tongues.
yeah.
That was that scene that I was telling you about at the beginning of the stream when I was a kid. I pulled the blankets down and saw the dog tongues. This part, that was enough to freak me the heck out. You know,
That'll do it.
I knew I was in a different world at that point.
I always looked at spaghetti and meatballs differently after this movie too. Just gonna say that.
Spaghetti and meatball, yeah, especially later on.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
So fire. So just like in the original movie, fire kills this thing, or an aspect of this thing at least. And of course, they put out the fire, and it's just like what the hell? They're like just like, what the hell just happened?
They don't burn it long enough. That's for sure.
Yeah, like they stop and then they put it out. I'm like, don't put it. I'm like, the first thing I'm thinking is don't put it out. Don't put it out. So
well, they put it out as soon as it stops making noise or whatever, so they think it's dead. But they find out different later.
Yeah, what's funny is I actually write down in my my last year's retrospective. I write down Childs, played by Keith David, comes in with the flamethrower and burns the hell out of this thing, apparently killing it. What the hell was that? Who goes there? Get it? Who goes there? Get it? Get see what I did? Ugh.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
no, I'm with you. I was with you.
I know. I was just being, you know. But so they what stinks is poor Blair has more carcass work to do.
Right.
He's
like, it's just speeds up his transformation because now he's getting a second helping of dissecting another one. So yeah, this is where he definitely.
I love this face right here. He's just like, oh, I don't want to fucking do this.
There's no way he didn't catch something.
And he's like arms deep in this thing too.
That's just it's horrifying. It's horrifying. All of this.
There's the pencil. There's his pencil right there.
Yeah.
See if I can find again in his mouth.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
That's not dog. That's imitation.
God. I mean, again, this is crazy. This is 40 years old. The practical effects are 40 years old. And it is still one of the most horrifying things I have ever seen in the cinema.
Yeah. So here, we notice how only I actually write down right here. Notice how the only personal protective equipment he's using is just simple plastic gloves when doing the autopsy. Something that would never fly today with all the precautions in play. Blair reveals that this thing can perfectly imitate other life forms and absorb them in close proximity. Hence why I'm the absorber today. I'm not the life form. I'm the absorber today. So, but then I think right after this, they actually go through here. Blair is questioning Clark. He's like, he's asking like about where did the dog come from? Why did you let it in and all that? And Clark's like, I don't know.
It was him.
Yeah. So Clark's is the reason why most of the majority of them are all going to die.
Well, Clark's a big dog lover, but and that's I can understand that character because I'm a dog lover. But yeah, he made a fatal mistake getting the ball rolling, so to speak.
I like this shot where you have all 7 people. We have 7 people in the frame right here. They're all looking at the Norwegian footage and how they discovered the.
This is so trippy.
Yeah,
this is first time I saw this. The scope and scale of this was just.
I think this was
crazy.
Reused. I think this clip on the TV was reused from the movie. This looks like this came straight out of the movie, the original Howard Hawks movie.
That makes sense.
But this here is original stuff. This is definitely not the. At least I don't think it is. So, as a result, they learn from the journals they learn where the ship is. So this time, the geologist dude Norris actually has something to say. He's not just standing there like a fat asshole. And no offense to I don't want to sound phobic or anything.
To all
like
the
that.
fat assholes out there, we didn't mean it.
And I'm a fat asshole myself. So here they land right by the vicinity of the ship. We get this great shot. I'm assuming this was a painting. This was a matte
It's got to
painting,
be
right?
matte. It's got to be matte. Snow, do you know if the same artist that did this did the matte painting for Empire Strikes Back? Because it looks a
Ralph
lot
McQuarrie?
like
You talking
what
about
they
Ralph
did
McQuarrie?
with the Hoth.
I do know it was a very famous one, so that probably is true. I'm guessing.
It just
you're not talking about Ralph. You're not talking about Ralph McQuarrie, are you? Because
I don't know. I don't know the
did,
on that.
He did do Hitchcock movies. I do remember that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just all the matte painting, especially from Empire Strikes Back, like the hanger on Hoth, that reminds me of this art style. So
yeah, this does look a lot like Hoth, and this was only 2 years after Empire. I think Empire came out in May of 1980. This came out in April? You said of 1982.
April 82 or May 82. One of those. Not Halloween.
No.
Actually, I think it was June 82, if I remember right.
I'd listen to Snow.
But I may be mistaken, but I believe it was June.
So this ship is 100,000 years old, and it's been in the ice in the ice that long. And so they go and they investigate, and they see that the ship is probably they think that all the damage that's been done was done by the Norwegians. So the Norwegians were there, and of course it's confirmed in the 2011 film because they actually go inside the ship in the 2011 film. And I'll be honest, the inside of the 2011 ship inside the ship in the 2011 movie was kind of trippy.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I never saw that prequel because I didn't want it to ruin this movie.
Yeah, you might not be wrong. To me, it didn't ruin it, but it's definitely not better than this.
If you guys say check it out, I'll check it out.
If you have a aversion to CGI, I would not watch. If you have a natural aversion to CGI, because there's a lot of CGI in that movie.
I kind of do.
Okay, then I wouldn't watch it. See, I don't have that problem, but
especially being in a Thing movie, it feels totally out of place. So
yeah, so perhaps it's not for the best. So
which they totally screwed up because they made all the practical effects for the movie, and at some point in time in the first couple screenings of it or whatever, the big wig producers on top said, nope, here's another couple mil to the CGI guys, go ahead and just do it over, blah blah blah. Basically throw some on
terrible.
top. Yeah, and it really shows in the last quote unquote big monster that our lead fights in the prequel. It's just horrible. There's a scene where she comes on that ship that you see behind him there, where there's like, it looks like Tetris, some kind of spinning Tetris thing right out of.
Dude, we don't need that. We don't. That's not what this franchise is about.
Yeah, it was insulting. So, like I said, if you get past all that garbage and, just kind of watch the last, like I said, 20, 30 minutes of it or whatever it is, 5 minutes, I don't know. But there is a nice lead up to this movie. But yeah, that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's,
So here we find out that we find the origin of that ice block that they found at the Norwegian camp. And so here they surmise that this is where the creature was found in. So so the creature was there, and they end up thinking that perhaps the thing can survive for extended periods of time frozen, only to be awakened by its prey. So we gotta keep that in mind. So here we the scene ends, and we're back on the base, and they're all just kind of chilling. There's Palmer and Childs are just listening to shit. I'm curious when Palmer gets hit. I'm curious when he becomes the thing. So they're coming back and they're talking, and of course Blair is just looking down. He's reading reports. They're like, "What are you doing?" Ask Blair. Like, don't. Why are you asking me? Ask Blair. And they're asking him like his opinion, and he just looks up, and then it dips to black. It dips to black, and then we get this right here. We get this nice little him playing with him inputting data on the computer.
He's playing asteroids.
Is that what this is? Asteroids?
It looks like it's Snow. You know what I mean. We used to play this at Pizza Hut, man. This is asteroids with virus. It's asteroid. Yeah, it's what went on at. Oh, I can't even. I'm not going to make those jokes on your channel, dude.
Well, this was high tech tech back then. We
This
were
this
cutting edge
nobody was
graphics
doing
right
this.
there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so here, we find out that the thing could infect others easily and take them over. They literally can take them over at the cellular level. And so the big thing is that if this creature ever reaches another continent, according to the computer here, it will take over the human race within like 3 years. So like he's learning all this like alone. And I think it says right here, actually, let me see. Probability that one or more team members may be infected is 75%. He's looking. He's like, okay, this is not good.
Well, I think at this point he's actually realizing he's infected, and he's part of that 75% or whatever, 25%.
Yeah.
It's a slow metamorphosis, and hence the snowball of craziness begins, and all these guys start basically not trusting each other anymore, and the paranoia sets in, and it really sets up for a great story of who done it, and kind of a knockoff movie too, because you just lose guy after guy after guy as the movie progresses. But
and I actually calculated here how much time 27,000
I was doing that
hours
too.
is.
I was doing that
3
live.
years. It's roughly 3 years.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like that's pretty quick. That's
speaking
pretty quick.
Speaking of time, not that I wouldn't love talking about this for 6 hours tonight. Are we going to go through the whole movie here, buddy? Because it's already been
we're getting. There's not much more there's not much more left.
Because I need to spit too.
I got about two. I got about another 20 minutes. I think I can go. Yeah, 25 minutes.
Oh yeah.
I got to go to dinner.
Is it already time? Has it already been that long? I guess it has been.
It's been 90 minutes already. Over that, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, we can
it's easy to talk about this forever, though.
I know, dude. It'd be better if we were all sitting around having pizza and wings and mixed drinks by chicks
with beers, right?
Well, and beers and chicks with cleavage.
Yeah, yeah. So apparently, right here, they're basically taking the body. They're taking that split-faced thing body, and I think they're just gonna keep it for storage. And we see it once again. And yeah, so Bennings and Windows are kind of handling it. Windows leaves the room, and one thing that we don't see is that it starts to bleed goo or something like that, or is that supposed to be a tentacle or something? But yeah, we see poor Bennings is left alone with this, and all of a sudden, they're talking to we have Fuchs here talking to McCready. He thinks that something's going on with Blair. He's kind of shut himself off from everybody. They think he's kind of losing it. And then Windows comes back and he sees. Let me see. I can get that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I find it. Right here. Look at this. Look at that. Look at this beautiful shot right here. That's poor Bennings. He's being entangled by tentacles. So one thing I'll say about Windows, he does the right thing. He gets the fuck out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
He gets McCready, brings them back. They get back to the room. Bennings is missing. He's outside the window. He's trying to flee right there, and they end up encircling him. And they end up. I think they end up burning him. Yeah, they dump the liquid on him and they just burn the shit out of him right here. And you're like that. So this is crazy right here. So we got our first victim of the movie. So we keep going forward, and they burn. I think they burn all the bodies. They're like, okay, he was infected. We can't trust. We can't trust ourselves with these things. We have to get rid of him right away. So
yeah, this is like locking the barn door after the cows already got away at this point. But yeah.
So yeah, just love the use of. Just love how there's so much fire in this movie. It's ridiculous. And let me see what else they got.
The Song of Fire and Ice.
Song of Fire. Oh my God, that's never gonna finish. Don't even. You're reopening old wounds, Sno Dub. You're reopening old wounds right there.
Podesta's Pizza. Nosferatu, I got my eye on you in chat.
So yeah, because of all this, I think right now they find out that Blair sabotaged the helicopter. Oh, sorry. Blair sabotaged the helicopter, so they can't leave no matter what they do. And not only that, Blair takes over the frickin' radio room, and he's destroying all the equipment and everything. And I think he's holding Windows hostage. Windows kind of burrowed in a corner right here, and yeah, look, he's just batshit crazy. He's got a gun and everything, and yeah, it's just we get they actually all try to take him out. Once he runs out of bullets, that's when they try to ram him with like a shield, and it takes like 3 of them to take down Wilford Brimley. So Wilford Brimley, geez, he's a tough guy to overcome right here. So they end up taking him into the they have him locked in the tool shed, and that's where they keep him for the rest of the movie. And they're like, I don't know who to trust. And you know what Rick Reedy says? Trust in the Lord. Why don't you trust in the Lord? And he's like, just watch Clark and everything. So yeah, so this is probably the best. This is probably the best part of the movies, where they figure out, how are we going to find out who's who? Well, let's do a blood test, and that's where Copper comes up with we'll take everybody's blood, and then mix it with uncontaminated blood, and they'll be able to figure out who's who by using fire or something, I think. And of course, we get the famous blood hit right here. He's like, "Hey, you guys! Somebody got to the blood." It's always funny. I just like how he delivered that line. It's like, somebody got to the blood, and then everybody just starts freaking. What do you guys think of this scene right here with the blood, and they're all accusing each other of shit?
This scene, it's even more powerful later on when they're on the sofa. That scene, seeing it for the first time, it's horrifying. You are roped to a sofa, and there might be an alien next to you, and yeah, I mean, this is the slow burn. This is the psychological terror mixed with horror,
Paranoia is kicking in. Yeah, these guys are all... It's where you lose all the trust in each other. Some are looked at more as possible leaders better than others. That's why McCready kind of takes over the lead role, so to speak, in the lead of the pack.
Yeah, because Gary can't seem to handle the stress of this type of situation as the station commander. So,
well, he this was probably a retirement assignment. The dude's probably got a year left, and he's going to get it. He's going to retire.
He's like, I'm done. Yeah, I'm like, I'm done with this shit. Like, I'm not equipped for this. And then my question is, do you think that who do you think sabotaged blood? Do you think it was Norris, or do you think it was Palmer?
At this point, it's hard to say, because
I never knew either. I don't know.
There could be something nefarious going on with one of the people as well that just doesn't like the rest of them, and are like what's his name, Blair. I still think is a big candidate at this point,
even though he's been in the tool shed for like the. Okay, yeah, that's possible. That's a possibility right there. So here they take all the blood, they burn it like they usually do, and so we get I think the next major scene right here is like, they're just waiting out. They're just trying to figure out who's who. He's doing like
Fuchs,
So he's doing a captain's log, and I think at this point Fuchs is now because Blair's out of the way. Fuchs has to take on the assignment. Has to come up with the answers. Now that Blair's out of the equation, now he has to step up and take over the biologist role of the camp, and he's working. But then all of a sudden you get a shot of, or you get a sound cue, and you get a across the camera of something lurking and stalking him. And so my question is, what the hell do you think happened with him? So we see him, he's going out there, he's looking, he has the flare, and then that's it. And then they find his corpse burnt up. They say in the movie it's suicide. Do you think it was suicide? Do you think he burned himself to
no.
What do you think happened? What do you think it was or do you think it was freaking Norris or Palmer or something. Probably Palmer.
I don't know. I think I don't, but I don't think it was suicide. That cat would no, it wasn't suicide.
Because he's the first one that finds this McCready thing, and this is where the paranoia jumps to him. So right now they decide to go out and search. Of course, I think at this point Palmer was infected because he was acting all paranoid. He's like, I'm not going out here with Windows, and Windows like, fuck you, man. And yeah, I think something. I think Palmer at this point was changed. Look at him. He's kind of like, he's quiet. He's kind of withdrawn. He's trying not to make himself noticed. So I think at this point, and even before that, when the whole blood thing happened, I think he was already infected.
That could be
or already changed. I don't know how.
I always default to Sno Dub's opinion on this. His and Purple Valkyries are the ones that with these deeper subtext questions, because there are some things like with this movie, I watch it not wanting to know, and I don't know. It's just me.
The problem is we don't know how quickly the cellular activity works. Like originally, Blair, points out in that little computer model that the cellular activity can take over. You just never really get a time, except for the fact that it only takes 3 years to take over the world. So you have to think that it's pretty fast generative disease. So how quickly it takes over the brain, all can affect on who gets infected when.
And the vector. And the vector, if it's blood-to-blood contact, if it's saliva contact, or other bodily, it's a different vector of infection, which I think is why Blair is the way Blair is. And other people who have the blood-to-blood contact, it's like a lot faster,
Right. Yeah, I think there's different levels to it at some point. I've always thought that Palmer got it literally just before he got put on the couch. At least that's what I thought. At some point, somewhere like maybe when the head came off of Norris or whatever, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think we lost Nerdporial.
He had his mouth wide open while he was watching it happen, and some squirted in his mouth. I just didn't see it.
Yeah, Nerdporial will be back with us, but in the meantime, you've got the beautiful and the lovely Sno Dub and me to talk about the thing.
That's all right. We're almost to the end of the movie anyway, so
yeah. Well, no, I mean, what I was going to say, Sno Dub, is John Carpenter movies. Thing is number one for me. What's your number 2 John Carpenter movie while we wait for Nerdporial to tie another soup can to a piece of string?
Oh boy,
yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
Is that Morse code, Nerdporial? Because if it is, you've only done 2 E's. Sorry, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, my camera's kind of off now. So at first it was a mic issue, now it's a camera issue. Yeah, it's still frozen in that spot. So, yeah, my bad. So, so they're asking like, I forget what they're asking Blair here. They're asking like, who else was infected, blah blah blah. He's like, I want to come back inside, and I like how they just trying to shut the. I like how they shut the door on him when he keeps saying, I want to come back inside. I want to come back inside. So. But yeah, they find his body right here, and it's just like they assume Fuchs committed suicide. I agree with you guys. I don't think he did, and wow, that's just messed up. So Windows goes back inside, and McCready and Knowles, the cook, go and investigate because of course he says he didn't leave the lights on, so they go up there and we don't see what really happens. So they're back in, they're locking the doors and everything. And they're just keeping watch. And of course, Knowles comes back and says McCready's the thing because he found the strip and he just kind of left him there along the pole line. And yeah. And then of course this is where the what do you call it? The paranoia gets worse. And this I love this right here. So he gets through the storage chamber, the storage room, gets through the storage window. And they're like, okay. He's like, okay, if you mess with me, I'm gonna blow us all up. We're all gonna die. I'm gonna come on, put down the. He's like, put down the thing, child. Put down the thing. So let's see if it works now. Jesus, I don't know, stupid camera today. But yeah, so yeah, we get this great scene here. And of course, while he's fighting everybody, Norris gets like a heart attack or something. Norris gets a heart attack. He gets overwhelmed, and shit's happening right here. He's not breathing. So we get this iconic thing right here. We get of course, everybody has seen this. You know, poor Dr. Copper Dr. Copper gets this moment right here. One, two, there we go.
That's so terrible.
Iconic.
That was a good pause. That was a good pause.
Yeah, and of course, everybody has seen this. This has probably been shown millions of times. It's so much other media. Like this is like every 11-year-old has probably seen this part of the movie. And I like how they use like cartoon sounding, goopy sounds to show his arms being eaten right here. And of course, here we get the Norris thing or whatever you call it. So so there's this thing, and then there's the thing that kind of cuts itself off rips itself from the body. Just look at this. Just look at this right here.
The genius behind this, it can't be overstated. No one had ever seen anything like this before in 1982. And this is just next level. And again, I just rewatched this movie, and it's terrifying. It is horrifying. And I know you can call it body horror, but I look at this, and this movie does such an exceptional job of bringing the concept of truly alien to the forefront in a way that I don't think a lot of movies have. You cannot explain it. It goes against all of what it means to human being and our perception of reality. In this movie, that's the most horrifying part about this movie. Is that? I mean, look at that damn thing.
It's another arachnid design from. I'm assuming Rob Bottin did this one too.
I'd use every shotgun shell in that compound to blow it into tiny, tiny little pieces. Just gonna say that, you know?
Yeah, he created that effect. This was the monster effect that actually malfunctioned originally when they burned it. They had to actually set it all up and do it twice with the whole hand smashing thing. And the guy that had his arms chopped off, they actually brought in a man who had actually had his arms chopped off and put a mask on him and used him with fake prosthetic arms to create that shot. So a lot of different crazy stuff went into the making of just that scene. A lot of different players, a lot of different ideas. Like I said, it's no CGI, all practical effect, and that's what made this movie truly brilliant. Was it broke the mold on what you could do, and like Salty said earlier, 40 years later now, it still holds up.
So I gotta ask you guys something, a favor. So we're at a very famous clip. You know, this part's been clipped to death in every single YouTuber's video, just everything. So why don't we all three of us in unison, 1, 2, 3, say what Palmer's going to be saying now. So okay. All right, 1 and the 2 and the 3. You've got to be fucking
kidding me.
Okay, that was terrible, but it's fine. It's fine. Right
I don't know. Between the delay between our mics, it might be perfect.
Yeah. You know? Yeah, there you go.
Like,
and of course, this is where they burn the little spider guy. And this is where we get the meat of the movie. So they're doing the blood test. He comes up with his own blood test. These guys are all tied to the chair. I believe they didn't even have the effects done when they were filming this, right, Sno Dub?
Well, all the interior shots were done in the studios in Los Angeles, where it was like 108 degrees outside. And they were dressed up in winter clothes, so that was rough on them. But yeah, a lot of these effects, there wasn't much that was done in post-production besides, sound effects and editing. But a lot of these effects had to be done right there in the studio. They shot the majority of the film in the beginning of all the exterior shots up in British Columbia, and then the end of the shooting they did in Los Angeles for most of these shots that were in the interior.
Didn't that scare you when you first saw it like that?
Oh
and
yeah.
of course we get the Palmer
Oh,
transformation
Jesus.
right here. Look at
That's
this. This is
that's
what
so horrifying.
this is what I
It's
use for
so
my
horrifying.
thumbnail. I use that for my thumbnail. And what does he do?
God. Yeah, that's so God.
With the teeth and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
And
God.
poor Windows. Like if he didn't freaking wait and hesitate with the freaking flamethrower, he'd be alive.
Yeah,
I was
that's
just
why
like,
you always have a shotgun.
Yeah, this scene doesn't hold up as well, unfortunately, with the fake dummy thing flopping around, but it's
That is-
still good. Yeah.
It's charming. It's a charming
Yeah,
scene.
it's funny. But yeah, Windows goes out like sucker. And they haven't made a toy of the Palmer monster yet.
Really?
It's
Okay.
one of the few that hasn't had a toy made of it.
yeah, and they blow up Palmer, and they burn Windows. So that's the end of them. So
Right. Well, Windows obviously is infected at that point.
yeah, so he was just kind of yeah. But you know what the bigger tragedy is? They burned all those board games too, along with Windows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now they're trying to. So they end up going out. The child stands guard at the place, and they go and find Blair, but Blair is missing.
Mhm.
So they end up finding that Blair has been working somehow in a very short time. He's been working on all this. Like he's been building a craft, and he's the final antagonist. He's the final thing. I think. We don't know
Yeah.
for sure. So,
I do have to split. I have a real world thing with my work and with what I work with. This happens sometimes. So, but I appreciate the offer. This has been a hell of a lot of fun, Brian. Thank you for the invite. I love this movie. I want to rewatch this movie now. Sno Dub, it's awesome to work with you.
Yeah.
I love this series, Nerdporial. I love this series, and thank you very much for letting me on the show. Again, I hate this, but this is what I do for a living. So, you guys have a good evening. Rest of the show, chat. You guys are awesome. See you guys soon. Bye.
all right.
There's all the rock and roll.
Thanks for doing that. Thanks for doing this. So yeah, don't worry, Sno Dub. We're almost done.
No problem. No, I just got a dinner thing here in a few minutes, but I got a little more time. So go ahead.
Okay. So here we see that we see the lights go out here, and I think they see Childs kind of running. He's chasing something, so we don't know what it is. And they decide, we're gonna blow this fucking place up right here. So they end up throwing like a grenade or something, or no, dynamite right here. They end up throwing dynamite, and they end up they just end up blowing the shit out. They want to smoke this thing out. So they end up going underground. They end up going to the lower level, and they're looking, and of course we get the famous shot of Gary being attacked by
Well, they realized the generator was gone, and they're all going to die anyway because the place is just going to freeze to death. So at this point, they're just literally lighting the whole place up, burning it to the ground, so the thing doesn't freeze either, and rescue crew doesn't find it. So they're basically trying to exterminate it while kind of committing suicide at the same time. They know that they're kind of in a helpless situation.
Yeah, that's another issue that people had with this movie, especially critics, was that how bleak the ending is right there. So yeah, so here they just Blair attacks him by like somehow managing to merge his fingers into his face. Let me see if I can get a good shot of that right there.
Yeah, they did a quick little effect for that kill. They also had something set up for nulls. But unfortunately, that's where the budget kind of ran out. So they had storyboards kind of created for the Null's death.
How was he? How was he originally? How did he die? I'm curious because we don't see him after this. He just walks towards where Blair is, and then that's it.
The storyboard was pretty vague. It basically just showed a monster kind of just jump on top of him and take him over type of thing. But it was just a storyboard. Like they didn't actually film anything for Nulls. Like I said, that's about the time the budget ran out. So they just had to do a cutscene where he just kind of disappears and leave it up to your imagination.
Yeah, that's one of the beauty of this movie. Just come up with so many theories. So Knowles is gone now. So now McCready is alone. He's trying to set up the detonator and everything. And we get a nice little like underground warm like just like a shark type of, I don't know how to describe it. Like the thing is underground and opens up like a little hole and steals the detonator. Just pulls the detonator underground, knocks McCready to the side, and of course then just shows itself. We get this nice little Quado looking dog looking Quado looking effect right here. Look at that, just so ugly. And McCready only has one piece of dynamite, so what does he do? He just says, "Oh, fuck you too," and he just throws it, and then we get an effect like just like this right here. Just
I think that stick of dynamite set off the rest of the dynamite that they had already kind of laid throughout the place. That's why you see multiple explosions.
I'm guessing McCready got out in time because we don't really see it. We just see it from far away right here.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Childs basically missed the whole thing. So he's just hanging out underneath. I think he has some whiskey or something. And he's like, "Nope, I'm real. Are you real?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm real." "What are we going to do?" "We'll wait." "Yeah, we'll wait." And that's it. John Carpenter's The Thing.
They said they don't think they had any surprises for each other. They couldn't do much about it. And it's one of those great scenes where, some people think Childs was still the Thing. Other people think McCready was. Some think neither one of them were. There's been 1,000 different hypotheses about, you could kind of see Childs' breath at this one point and all this stupid stuff. People have picked this movie apart to death. There's thousands of movies or videos out there of people literally dissecting this film because it's such a great whodunit, and it really is fun to explore and watch a second, third, fourth time to pick up on little clues that you might have missed the first time around, which makes it fun. Yeah.
That's pretty much the end of the movie here. So I know you said you have to, have a dinner engagement. So I guess we'll just end it here. Do you have anything you want to promote before we go?
Yeah, well, just sub to me or whatever if you like crazy puppets. That's usually what I work with. We do a puppet show called the Cotton Council every Saturday night. A lot of craziness, a lot of comedy, skits, stupid antics, a lot of fun. And then I like to do stuff like this sometimes too, or make videos. But yeah, come check me out. And it's fun talking the thing with you, brother. I like I said, I could probably do it for 4 or 5 more hours if I just had all night to kill.
We started really slow. Like we just kept talking. And I think by the time 45 minutes came in, then we finally started with the breakdown. And because this is not your typical horror movie where you can just kind of skip over things. There's like so much to talk about here.
There's a ton to talk about.
I usually only do 2. I usually do 2 to 2.5 hours. That's usually my limit. Right. I did the Jaws one was 3 hours because there was so much to talk about.
Wow.
And luckily Piss was willing to stay on with me that long. So I understand why you guys kind of need to
I didn't know. But I did want to tell your audience that if they're really interested in the thing, there is other material out there you can look into. There's a comic book that came out after this movie that kind of picks up after where this movie left off. That's interesting. There's also the video game for the PlayStation 2 that was pretty good. There's also rumors, speculation. Blumhouse has the rights. John Carpenter is supposedly involved of a possible sequel, maybe / remake. I don't know. But there is a very good possibility we will see another Thing movie soon from Blumhouse and John Carpenter. Hopefully he comes back to direct it. I don't know. Hopefully they paid tribute to the fans, but that's a reach because lately they've been really screwing his fans over with Halloween and Hellraiser. So I haven't seen
the new Hellraisers. Any good?
I didn't. It was like a solid 5 to me. It was just another Hellraiser movie. It wasn't anything special or stuck out to me.
We brought back Clive Barker. Come on, come and see the movie. We brought back Clive Barker, kind of like Halloween. They were like, we have John Carpenter doing the music.
No, he just signed on to it and said it was cool that they made it. It wasn't like he was really involved or directed or anything like that. Yeah, so I mean, I'm glad Clive liked it, I guess, but I don't give a shit. It still wasn't that good as far as I'm concerned. But
Compared to
what
the original.
yeah, or the first two, I think, are still far superior. You know,
Oh,
that's just me. Yeah, but this movie is perfect. There is no flaw to this movie that I can find, and that's why I always place it as my favorite movie of all time. I just can't find a flaw to it. It's just perfectly done.
Okay, yeah, I feel you there. I agree. Like this is just a great, it's just a great movie altogether. This is like one of the very good horror movies. Like of all the crap out there, this is a diamond,
Yeah,
diamond in the rough. So,
exactly.
but for me, I know next Wednesday, I'm doing one with my friend Brian. We're going to be doing American Psycho, which is going to be a fun stream right there. And then I'm trying to figure out another. I only have one other one planned. Trying to figure out when I want to do that. That one I might be doing earlier in the day. But I'll keep you guys apprised of that one. Let's just say this one's a wacky, funny horror comedy that's ridiculous, and it's very 80s. It's very cheesy 80s. I won't say what it is yet, just for the sake of mystery, but everything.
Nice.
But yeah, that's pretty much. And of course, my final serial horror chat is going to be on Halloween itself. And what am I going to be talking about on Halloween itself? Well, I think you can guess based on what I just said. Halloween. We'll be talking about Halloween on Halloween, 1978 Halloween, the good one. So
perfect.
So yeah, so that's the plan. And I think then after that, I don't know. That's the future. The sky's the limit, as Captain Picard says. So, but yeah. So everybody, thanks for coming out. Thank you, Sedekar 7th Legion member, Nosferatu member, Dempsey member. Dan Crane member, and of course we also had LDG came in. Well, thanks for showing up. Godzillionaire member. We had Henry Lemoyne earlier, and a whole bunch of a Purple Valkyrie earlier. We had a whole bunch of people. Just I really appreciate you coming out and supporting this. And yeah, so I did. I actually made an outro for this video, and it's basically my. When I made this thing retrospective last year for Serial Horror Sessions is what I called that series. I didn't do any this year. I was kind of honoring the 50s. I was kind of honoring the final lines of the 50s movie by kind of changing it to fit this movie because they didn't have that. So I'm going to show that, and then I'm going to re-show the intro, and then that'll be it. So
cool.
Once again, Sno Dub, thanks for doing this. Salty, we love you. Thank you guys for coming on. This was a great conversation. I felt like I needed 3 people for this particular movie. I think I needed 2 guests right here. And of course, Glinzer comes in right when I'm about to end. But thanks for coming by. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
so yeah, thank you. Everybody, stay Nerporial. May the wings of Nerporials carry you. Well, carry you to happiness and the next Nerporial stream right here. So everybody, take care and enjoy this outro and then the intro, and then that'll be it. And this story must be told to all the people of the earth. One of the world's greatest battles was fought and won today by the human race. Here at the bottom of the earth, a handful of American and Norwegian men met the first invasion from a shape-shifting creature from another planet. The alien was destroyed, but not without casualties and the destruction of both American and Norwegian bases. Before I go into details, I bring you a warning. Every one of you listening to my voice, tell the world. Tell this to everybody wherever they are. Watch the skies, everywhere. Keep looking. Keep watching the sky. Okay, so it's just me now. So yeah, so you want to ask some questions, Sedekar? Go ahead, I'm here. I'll stick around then. I wasn't sure if anybody had wanted me to stick around and do anything. So, you want to ask about Discord? What do you want? What questions do you have about Discord? So right now, what I've been doing is I've been usually I Can you hear me now? Yeah, you can hear me now. Sorry. I've been, mic is very sensitive. Discord. I want to ask about Discord. Discord is for pizza lovers. That's Nosferatu. Yeah, Dan Crane. You guys are still here. Okay. So did you guys like that little thing? That was from my last year's review, my serial horror sessions. That's how I decided. That's the creative. I just decided to end it like the the 50s movie. So, but Discord, what about Discord? Do you have a question about, like, all you have to really do is I'll I'll send a link right here. I think Sadek, I think you're on Discord with me, but if you're not, if you guys are not, I'll send an invite right here. So yeah, just have to invite people, click that button. I have to click the copy, and yeah. So this is if you, in case you want to join Nerdporial Continuum, that's the name of my Discord server. So I would love to chat, but I dislike Discord. Okay, so you don't have a question about Discord then? You said you wanted to ask about Discord. Yeah, you also use Twitter. I mean, ways to contact me: Twitter and Discord are the two main ones. YouTube doesn't have DMs, and I did have a Facebook, but then I got rid of it. Now I can't do ads on Facebook. Facebook doesn't like me for some reason, even though I never really released any video content on their thing. I don't know what it is. Like, oh, you can't, like, Instagram won't let me use ads at all. I do have an Instagram account too, so you can contact me on Instagram. Nosferatu says, Nerdporial and I are going to have an offline 10-hour talk one day about Majora's Mask. Yeah, I still have to beat Majora's Mask, the 3DS version. So I played the game back in the day. I got it, right after Ocarina. I played it. I think I played through it 2 or 3 times. So it's not one that I know nearly as well as Ocarina. Ocarina I played that first year, 99, when it came out in 98, when it came out in 99, or when I throughout 99, my 8th grade year, played the hell out of it. Must have played it 5 to 10 times. And it never really got old. I really enjoyed it. So the Ocarina retrospective was something that I was looking forward to ever since I started the channel. And so I'm glad, I'm thankful I did it. My current video project, which I really I barely started. I started writing. I wrote the first paragraph in the introduction. It's basically the first Metroid. I'm covering the first Metroid and its remake, which is called Zero Mission, which came out for Game Boy Advance. So I'm going to be talking about, so it's not going to be a long retrospective. I mean, the original NES game, all I'm going to talk about is like some of the key areas, the key items that you need, that Samus needs, how freaking hard the game is, the enemies, the story, and Mother Brain. And then of course I'm going to kind of skip through years later, skip through all the other Metroid stuff, Super Metroid, just say time has passed. And then Mr. Sakamoto, the producer, decided to remake the original game using Super Metroid elements and Metroid Fusion elements to create Metroid Zero Mission, which has an alternate ending. So it doesn't just end after you fight Mother Brain. You end up on a space pirate ship, and you're a Zero Suit Samus, and you're trying to sneak out. So you're like Solid Snake. You're trying to sneak out, and you're trying to get to your ship before you get killed and stuff. It's ridiculous. So he says, Sadakar says, not sure you're all ready to chat in real time with me. Scottish, LOL. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you're 6 hours. You're 6 hours ahead of me. You're in the critical drinker, and you're in the critical drinkers country right there. I haven't been in it either, but it's always been a dark atmosphere for such a kid. I remember, once you get to day 3 and you're in the last hour, the music changes. The music gets so dark and so dreary, and then you see the moon is like right above you, that creepy clown-looking moon right there. So, Nerdporial, grow the rest of the beard look better on you. I don't want to, because I have a lot of gray. I've been having a lot of gray. I used to have a full chin beard, but yeah. I like how I look now. I'm pretty fine with how I look now. So, yeah. And I've never been a mustache guy. I don't like to grow mustaches. So, well, you want to knuckle up for some fish and chips? Not a big fish eater. I know it's a sin, but I've never been a really big fish eater. I mean, I'll eat salmon once in a while, because it's good for you. But yeah, that's why I probably went overweight, because I don't eat as healthy as I do. It says, why did Windows die in such a dumb way? Okay, we talked about it. Actually, I don't know if you were in the stream when we were talking about it, but Windows Windows froze. He was scared. He was scared of what he saw. He did not think that Palmer could do what he did. He didn't. And the thing is, he didn't know what Palmer was going to do. He didn't know Palmer's head was going to open up like that, and all of a sudden a tongue was going to come and wrap him, and then he's going to bite him. They had no idea what he was doing. But the thing was, he just froze, and he's waited too long, and it happens. People, you get scared and you just don't know what to do. And he froze. He wasn't prepared for that situation. And McCready's flamethrower it wasn't working at that point. I mean, it was a production thing for sure. It was convenient for the script, but yeah. But it could, I mean, it's kind of believable, and plus it's an 80s trope too. It's a horror trope too. So like, people, women trip, when they're being chased by the final girl always trips when they're being chased. And usually the victims become victims because they make stupid decisions or they do stupid things. So that's just kind of how it is. Right there. So is there any other questions you guys want me to do? I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's been over 2 hours. Yeah, so I only have like 3 more. I only got 3 more streams planned, and I have 2 for sure. I'm trying to working on a third one. So I might ask another one, but I just kind of want to just relax next week. Only do maybe a couple, maybe only do one, and then just try to work on the video project. This weekend Sunday I'm going to be doing House of Dragon. We're going to be doing the final episode. Prophet, Salty, if Salty can make it. Me, Prophet, Salty, and Pips. So 4 of us. We're going to be covering the finale. So I don't know if there's going to be a character death that episode, but that'll be the finale. And then, of course, after that, I'm rereading The Wheel of Time, and so I'm going to be doing a stream probably the following Sunday to kind of continue the whole Sunday night fantasy thing. And I'm going to be talking about how far I'm getting in the Wheel of Time. So right now I'm on chapter 9 of the first book of the Wheel of Time, which is called Eye of the World. And it starts off very Tolkienian, very Fellowship of the Ring. You start with a farm boy or start with, a peaceful town. Of course, bad guys come in, they want the main characters. So the main characters have to flee for reasons. Same idea. Santa Car says 2 minutes, please. Okay, 2 minutes for what? You have more questions? Have you seen Marvel's Werewolf by Night over on Disney Plus? Excellent. I have not. I have not seen. What is Werewolf by Night? Is that at least it's Marvel? I've never heard of this. Let me look. Werewolf by Night. Is that a cartoon? Is that part of the MCU? Werewolf by Night. It is a American television special by Michael Giacchino. It's Marvel Studios. It's Marvel Comics. It's the MC. Is it Marvel Studios? Is it in the MCU? It's part of Phase 4 of the MCU. I've not watched any. I'm kind of done with Marvel. I'm done with MCU or MCU, as some people call it. Based on everything that I've seen of the MCU, I'm kind of done with. I'm kind of done with what do you call it? I'm kind of done with Marvel. I'm not interested. I've never really been truly interested. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. That was I accidentally hit the cord, hit the thing. I gotta be very gentle about this. So Nosferatu says, can we get a Land Before Time retrospective? That would be that is something I would do because I'm like Land Before Time was part of my childhood. That was one of the earliest things. That was one of the earliest times I learned about the concept of death, especially with spoiler alert, Littlefoot's mother. And right now I just it just when I think about it, just really balls me up. I love to get a Ninja Scroll retrospective. Okay, I still have not seen Ninja Scroll in its entirety. I remember the beginning. I remember like this one stone dude was kicking the dude's ass, and then you had the chick. You had the chick who has if you sleep with her, you do stuff with her, she's made up of pure poison. So that's all I remember. I don't think I've seen the movie in its entirety. Henry Lemoyne says, cliche I actually like. I like the cliche in movies where someone kills the bad guy, but then 10 seconds later, it reveals he's still alive and attacks and then gets killed again. LOL. Yeah, it's kind of like Halloween. Yeah, Halloween's like that. And Nosferatu says, I demand a Klaus Kinski career retrospective. Okay, I don't even know if I've seen any Klaus Kinski movie. I know that's right. I know you're probably you haven't seen one, then you're gonna be telling me I gotta do better, and you'd be right. I do have to do better. Ninja Scroll would be an awesome video game. I think it would be. It'd be a good combat game or beat 'em up game or something. He's like, I love Land Before Time. You know, it's funny. I actually saw American Tail first before I saw Land Before Time. So I might do a Don Bluth, you know, retrospective for the first for the three that I know really well. I know American Tail. I know this one, Land Before Time. And I know All Dogs Go to Heaven. Those are the three that I know pretty well. I did not see Secret of NIMH. I know Secret of NIMH is technically the first Don Bluth movie, I believe, Don Bluth Productions movie, but I didn't see that. I didn't see that as a kid. I actually didn't see that until I actually saw it as an adult. It's actually a really good movie, though. That's a very good movie. The Secret of NIMH, National Institute of Mental Health. Dan Crane here. My daughter just purchased the complete 14 movie DVD package Land Before Time set. 14 movies. I remember they made, I saw the sequel 94. I was still a kid. I think I was 9 or 10. 94, 90, yeah, I was 94. They came out with the direct-to-video Land Before Time 2, The Great Valley Adventure. I actually saw that one. But then they made 3, they made 4, they made 5. Every year, every 6 months, I saw like a new Land Before Time released direct-to-video. So it's crazy. Yeah, Secret of NIMH. Did I finish Yu Yu Hakusho? I did finish Yu Yu Hakusho, Godzillionaire, and it was awesome. The final arc was very short because the manga writer did not want to keep doing it. Like he wanted to end it after the so you had the Dark Tournament arc, and then you had the arc with the them trying to open the path to the demon world, and that was supposed to be the final arc. But they wanted the people that the manga writer was working for wanted another arc. So he came up with this arc where Yasuke or whoever the main character's name is actually a demon, and his father is actually an ancient demon that wants to train him, and of course he trains with him, and of course the other two demon characters end up becoming the other two demon characters end up training for a 3-way tournament. So there's like 3 demon kingdoms that want to fight. They're going to go to war, but the only way to stop that is they have a tournament. So they have this really short tournament, which is short compared to the Dark Tournament. The Dark Tournament is still the best arc of the series. But yeah, there's a lot of other like fighter shows. Like I still have to see. I haven't even seen the latest Dragon Ball Super movie, so I have to check that out. And there's a lot of anime. I mean, I'm behind on anime, like especially anime from ever since 2010. I haven't seen a whole lot. Like a lot of the shows I've seen are from, I've seen a lot of 80s anime. I've seen a lot of Tomino, Mecha, Gundam, Ideon. I've seen the original Macross. I've seen all the Tomino stuff. I've seen Aura Battler Dumbine. I've seen Heavy Metal Elgime. I saw Zeta Gundam and all this. He did a whole bunch of Gundam stuff in the late 80s and the 90s. Victory Gundam, Tournay Gundam. Heck, I even think I saw the Zeta films. The Zeta films came out when I was in college, and Tomino, Mr. Yoshiyuki Tomino himself, traveled to Chicago, did a panel. He did a book signing at Borders. Borders used to be a bookstore in the mid 2000s. I'm sure if you guys are all old enough to remember that mid 2000s. And I actually have a signed copy of the Mobile Suit Gundam novel that he wrote, which is totally different from the animated show and the compilation movies that came out after the show. Like Amuro gets killed and Char survives, and Char ends up becoming part of the White Base, or the Trojan Horse crew, as they call them. So he came and he was there. He came to Chicago. We saw a panel at Columbia College. He was in a panel right next to this anime Japanese professor who was someone that would be a quote unquote expert, like a Tolkien expert. Well, let's just say he did not like her, and he kind of acted all dismissive to her, and she got really pissed off. So, but that's how Tomino is. Tomino's a dick, and he's hilarious. He's a hilarious dick too. So, but yeah. So I saw the Zeta films, and there's a lot of other stuff. Nerdporial has not seen the Rob Zombie movies. Yeah, Dempsey would know. He's like, I dislike the Loomis character in Rob Zombie Halloween 2. Thoughts on the Rob Zombie Halloween movies? Yeah, Malcolm McDowell. Yeah, I haven't seen those. Malcolm McDowell's a great actor, like Clockwork Orange, Star Trek Generations. He's done a lot of voice work. He was in God of War 3, Daedalus. He was Daedalus. Yeah, it's just crazy. Is Spawn the movie on your list of review? You're talking about the 1997. I did start watching it. The CGI is so bad in that movie. It's so bad. It's ridiculous. I'll have to finish it though. But I did start it. I started months ago and I still haven't finished it. So we're gonna get to that. So yeah. So yeah, that's basically what it is right here. So yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got. Favorite bands type of music. Well, my favorite classic rock band is Queen, if you want to know. Queen's my favorite classic rock band. My friends don't agree with me. Like a few of my friends don't even like Queen, but they're like, it's okay. It's not their cup of tea. Like I like pop. I kind of like poppy. I kind of like a good mix of poppy and got that rock, that little edge of rock there. But I haven't listened to a whole lot of Queen myself. But I mean, I like older stuff mainly. I like the Beatles quite a bit. I like Pink Floyd for their progressive rock. Rush every once in a while. Yeah, I mean, my friend Marty's a big Grateful Dead. He's a Deadhead, so he likes to play Grateful Dead. So every time I go over and hang out with him, we're always listening to Grateful Dead. Am I the biggest? I'm not a Deadhead myself, but hey, Grateful Dead's okay to listen to. Barbecues, while there's people talking. It's there in the back. It's there in the background, But I like to listen to anime music, anime pop songs. I mean, the big song that really popped up this week was when I was preparing for Perfect Blue. I love the ending song of Perfect Blue. It's kind of really it's the song that grabbed me this week. I've been listening to it. I go for walks. I've been listening to it. So just very upbeat song for a dark movie, but the movie has a happy ending, like I said in my stream. So yeah, we got so we had that, and I like video game music. I like classical music. I like soundtracks and everything. And yeah, I like to listen to people talk, podcasts. I need to get more into audiobooks. I mean, it's easier for me to read books than to listen to audiobooks, because like sometimes my mind will, I'll attention deficit. I'll end up, thinking about something else, and I won't be concentrating on, listening to the words of what they're saying on the, whether it's, in the audiobook. So yeah, it's really hard for me to turn off my brain sometimes in that regard. So right now I'm just reading. I'm reading Wheel of Time on my Kindle. So yeah, I have it set to black background, white text, and I can read it with the lights off and everything. So favorite horror film soundtrack? Well, I love Halloween. Halloween soundtrack is great. I like the Psycho soundtrack quite a bit. Especially the opening, for the opening title was a great one. I like the Friday 13th. I like that. It's creepy. So anything that's really creepy and great. I like the Things soundtrack, and Morricone, like we were talking about. I like John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness. I use his Prince of Darkness soundtrack for my Serial Horror Chats opening. So yeah, it's just like it's a work in progress. And so I kind of came up with some. My intros are kind of more consistent now. Like I always start with the poster of the movie. I'll show featuring whoever the guest is, and then I'll show clips, and I'll play some music. Hopefully the music doesn't get sometimes the music doesn't. Sometimes I get tagged for it, but sometimes it doesn't. So Godzilla in your wheel in the sky keeps on, the wheel in the time keeps on turning. The wheel in the sky. Yeah. My friend hates Journey. Like he's like, turn that. He's like, he got married. My friend got married, and he's like, he's playing all this music that I don't really care for. They're playing 90s, they're playing 2000s music that makes my skin crawl. And then there's the one song I was like, okay, I'm okay with. And it was "Don't Stop Believing." And my friend, the groom, was like, turn that shit off. So I was just like, oh man. I was just like, oh, I wanted to hear something I liked for once, but hey, it was his wedding. I'm not gonna say anything. So, and it's his taste, you know. He does. Not everybody likes Journey. Not everybody likes the type of music. So, which is okay. But yeah, Ecstasy of Gold. Yeah, that's from Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and that's actually part that they actually use that for the world map in the video game, the JRPG Wild Arms, which is a JRPG that takes place in a fantasy Western world. So think of like Dark Tower, that type of Western fantasy type of thing. But that's kind of what Wild Arms is, and that's another friend of mine. That's his favorite RPG of all time, even more so than even games like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI and 7 and all that. So, yeah. But yeah, that's any other questions for old Nerporial? I mean, yeah, you see my 50th anniversary Godfather, which I still have yet to watch. I have the Godzillion. I have the Godzilla Showa era collection. Of course, all the stuff on top right here, that's all anime. So this is all Gundam stuff in this first set right here, and then Gundam kind of continues on its Legend of the Galactic Heroes, and then there's the rest of the anime that I have in alphabetical order. And of course, here you obviously see all my Star Trek stuff. So it's, you know, all the 1966 to 2005. I actually have Galaxy Quest. I actually include Galaxy Quest and Forbidden Planets. I completely redid the shelf the other day, which, yeah, took me a while. And then I start from A to B to C. And of course, you see Babylon 5 right there where my finger is. And then there's more right there. And of course, you see in my bed, and I got a lot of shit. I have a lot of shit on the floor and everything. But yeah, I got more stuff right there. So yeah, my webcam is basically a Logitech, and it's on a little tripod, and that's what I'm holding. So yeah, it's just I'm working off of a tiny little dresser. The dresser is my desk. It's about this is like about this wide. So I just have a laptop. I have a monitor, which I use for, you know, sharing my screen, and then of course, you know, wireless mouse. And I have 2 hard drives I use. I have a hard drive for my clips, and I have a hard drive for my my movies and shows that I procure. Everything. So we got Cardinal Sin. What's up, Cardinal Sin member? How you doing? Yeah, we already finished talking about the movie, so I'm just here doing like a little Q&A, answering questions or revealing shit about myself, you know, like a good YouTuber does. But yeah, so yeah, today I every stream I always identify as something different. So today I identify as the Thingporial Absorber right here. So Dan Crane says, are you planning to do a weekly review of Star Trek Picard Season 3 on Paramount Plus? I'm glad you asked that, because I was watching Robert Meyer Burnett responding to Mr. Doomcock, because Mr. Doomcock was calling him a shill. Well, I don't know if he called him a shill exactly, but he's calling him, you know, he's calling him things. And Rob likes a lot of things. He's mostly positive on stuff. I don't agree with all of his takes, but when it comes to Star Trek, I trust his takes more than anything else, because he's like, when it comes to Star Trek, it's the thing that he loves the most. And yeah, so that's for God. Poriel is 6'9". How tall am I? I'm I'm tall enough. I'll say I'm tall enough. I'm not like I don't know if I want to reveal. I don't know if I want to reveal my height. Like if you meet me in person, I like to, you know, surprise people and stuff. But I'm just I'm average height. I'm just average height. You know, I'm average height. So yeah. I just need to lose some weight though. I'm bigger than I need to be. So I've been walking, doing some more exercise, been trying to lift some weights, but the thing is, you have to really plan what you're going to do. The most successful people that work out, that, you know, lose weight and everything, they make a plan for diet, they make a plan for their exercise, and they have to stick with it. And the thing is, I don't do that, and that's the issue. So, and it takes work. And that's the thing. So, yeah. So, but yeah, so I'm just I just reveal a gazillion years. I don't want to reveal my height equals I'm 5 foot. I am not 5 foot tall. I tell you, I'm taller than 5 feet. I'm taller than 5 feet. I'm taller than a lot of people. I mean, like I said, I'm average height. I'm average height. I'm not super. I'm not like super. I'm not. I don't have like. I'm not an athlete. I was never quite the athlete. I mean, I was on wrestling one time, 1 year, senior year. But wrestlers aren't tall. We're all different heights, because we're all different weights and stuff. So we're like I think the shortest kid on my high school team, I think he was 5'3", 5'2". He was like 100, and I think the lowest weight class I think is 105. I think, I don't remember, but the largest was, the largest was was like heavyweight, like anything under 275, and we had to fight for 250. There's 250 and then it goes all the way to 275. If you do the 275, you run the risk of being someone outweighs you by like 30-40 pounds. So, and I was kind of over the 215 when I was in high school, so now I'm definitely over 215. So that's I'm trying to get back down to that level. So but yeah, Henry Lemoyne is so and so tall, 5'8". Okay, yeah, I'm roughly in that. I'm roughly in that ball. I'm in that ball range right there. So yeah, no longer a mystery. So there you go. Yeah, I was tall as a kid. I was pretty tall as a kid. I was one of the taller kids in class. But then once junior high happened, my classmates kept growing, and I was staying the same height. So it was a strange experience right there. So. Land Before Time, 14 movies. Yeah, geez. No way I'm going to watch 14 movies. Favorite comedians? Well, I love Robin Williams. I mean, I still think Robin Williams might be the best comedian of all time. Might disagree. I mean, I think Carlin's pretty funny when he's not talking about kids. So when he's talking about like religion and stuff, that's pretty funny. When he talks about kids, it gets really weird. I mean, who else was real? I mean, if you like a guy screaming, there's Sam Kinison. He was in Back to School. He was Rodney Dangerfield found him at Dangerfield's. Rodney Dangerfield had his own club called Dangerfield. So that's how. So he found Sam Kinison. Of course, Sam Kinison was in his movie Back to School. That fucking match. He always his tagline, his punchline was always, what a woman did to me, she was doing that fucking bitch. That's Sam Kinison for you. So, Eddie Murphy's really funny, especially when he makes fun of. You ever hear like Eddie Murphy, Delirious and Eddie Murphy Raw? He was great. Some of his best stuff was him making fun of Bill Cosby. And what's funny is I'm curious if the stuff that he says in his stand-up is true. Like Bill Cosby actually confronted him, and because his son was a fan. His son was a fan of Eddie Murphy's, and he started tackling Eddie Murphy jokes. And I think his son told his father, and his son was Ennis Cosby. And if you don't remember Ennis Cosby, he was murdered in the 90s, and that was all over the news. He pulled over. He was trying to help somebody out, and he got murdered by I don't know if they were Croatian or Serbian or something, but they weren't citizens of the United States. He pulled over on the highway, and they just killed him, and it was a terrible thing. And yeah, this was also going on during. This was also Cosby Show was over. I think he was doing Cosby, the CBS Cosby Show at the time, and as much as what happened with Bill Cosby, last few years, we learned all the things that we learned about him. I still don't think that the Cosby Show. I don't think it tainted the Cosby Show personally. I understand why a lot of people did feel it tainted the Cosby Show, but I mean that Cosby Show was made just to show that people there's a possibility that people can work together, that people blacks can eventually, I mean blacks and whites and all of us can work together and be and can live without having to deal with the racism or racial issues, and we can just work together to build new path forward. And then of course that's another reason why I love the original Star Trek, for that same reason, for just that hopefulness of the future for all peoples of all creeds and things that they're born with, that they're beyond their control. If they coming together, working to go out into the cosmos. And that's, I mean, Mr. Burnett said that's exactly what is the true core of Star Trek, is just people going out there and, you know, boldly going where no man has gone before, working together to learn about the cosmos. And the cosmos is infinite and it's big. And as Charlton Heston says in Planet of the Apes, he feels lonely when he sees it. And Shatner said something similar when he actually went into outer space as a 90-year-old. And he's then we're all of a sudden now we're getting things saying that, oh, all I saw was death. I mean, it's almost a void out there. I mean, it's mostly empty space. But I want to say thank you to Cardinal Sin. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the $20 super chat. Cardinal Sin, a member, he says, "Hail at the Nerdporial life form. I find it sad that I was unable to get both Doomcock and Robert Meyer Burnett on my channel. They both declined. Their birthday is on the same day. It seems they're not enemies, but they're definitely not friends." I honestly like to see them talk Trek because they both are very knowledgeable. I mean, I think Rob might have the edge on Doomcock, but I think Doomcock knows, like, he knows the original series like the back of his hand. So I'd like to see them talk about the original series, because I know, like, I mean, I would be a normie to Star Trek compared to them. And I've seen the shows multiple times, except for Enterprise. Enterprise, I think I've only seen 2 or 3 times. But even I like Enterprise too. So, and of course, Dan Crane says, "I've been a wrestling official for 27 years, going on my 28th year. Coach wrestling 8 years before I became a prep official. Good to hear a fellow wrestler." Yeah, I did it. It was. I remember the exercises. I remember setting up the mats, running around. We did skipping, cherry picks. Skipping is, people might laugh at you, but skipping is a really good freaking exercise. Skipping, cherry picking, it's a good freaking exercise. Gets that heart rate up, and that's what really gets you. Oh, what about Andrew Dice Clay? "Oh, I screwed a girl. I fucked a girl, and I got her pregnant." That's Andrew Dice Clay. Okay, that's disingenuous. I have not really watched Andrew Dice Clay. I just know he's super duper dirty. I've actually heard. I used to watch Sanford and Son quite a bit, so I actually tried to listen to Red Fox's stand up, and I was just like, "Wow, this is not the Fred Sanford I know. He's not going from you big dummy to talking about a sex position that has something to do with a number called 69." So there you go. Sorry, kids. But yeah, I'm not doing any. So yeah, separate the art from the artist is very important, because there's one movie I do love that I always watch every now and then, that was made by someone who did a very horrible thing in the 70s. And of course, I'm talking about Roman Polanski. He made a movie called The Pianist, and it might be my favorite Holocaust movie. It's a movie I think everybody should see. I know a lot of people might disagree with me on this. A lot of people think Polanski's a piece of shit. I understand why. But at the same time, I think The Pianist shows an aspect of the Holocaust that the Schindler's List did not. So the Pianist was basically follows one person and how he's trying to survive in Poland. He manages to get away. He manages to not get on the trains to the death camps. He gets saved, and he ends up in hiding. And he ends up hiding in Warsaw, and he ends up hiding out. He ends up having to flee several times. There's people that are trying to whistle blow him, his location, and it gets to a point where he has no place to stay. And then, of course, there's the Warsaw ghetto uprising that he witnesses. And then, of course, the Soviets come in, and he ends up hiding in a house, and he's wearing this one nice Nazi gives him his coat, and he's playing, I think, Chopin. He's playing Chopin, and the guy listens to it, and he gives him the coat and lets him go. And of course, that guy ends up being captured by the Soviets, that Nazi. He says, ask Spielman or whatever his name is, not Spielman. I forget the character's name, Adrian Brody's character. And he's like, please have him, tell him that I'm here. And then by the time, Brody, came to the place where they were holding all the POWs, they were all gone. So we don't know what happened. We ultimately don't know what happened to them. I'm assuming the Soviets probably put them all down or something. We don't know. I don't know, to be honest. So, But that's a great movie. That's something that I feel is something that really you need to separate the art from the artist, because once again, this is Polanski, and everybody knows what Polanski did in the 70s. 13-year-old, and then he flees. Then he flees the country, and he's not. And as long as I've been alive, longer than that, since 1977, I believe, he hasn't been able to step foot in the U.S. And the moment he does, handcuffs. They take him in. So, my favorite drink is a Cosmopolitan. I don't know if I've ever had a Cosmopolitan. Sadikar says, "You are welcome here, and we promote friends for his sins. You may want to support the pure, then like Cardinal Sins right there." Thanks for putting that link there. Cardinal Sin, I think the barrier is on their vision of Star Trek, especially Picard. They are polar opposites. Now, they both hate Picard. They both hate Picard season 1 and 2. But Robert saw season 3. He saw season 3 twice. And because he saw season 3 twice, he saw something that rekindled his love for Star Trek. And that's why he's been very supportive of this. And plus the difference is, Doomcock said that Terry Matalas ran season 2. He did not run season 2. He ran the earlier episodes of season 2. That's why the beginning of season 2 was actually pretty decent. And then the rest of the season went to shit once they brought the time travel factor in. Now, I still haven't seen season 2. Now that I'm going to be doing season 3, I'm going to probably have to watch season 2, even though season 2 is pretty much panned across the board. Even the mainstream pretty much panned it too. So, but like there were ideas that they didn't use. Like Robert, long time ago, did a stream talking about the Con script, the Con series that Mr. Nicholas Meyer wrote and came up with. And that was supposed to be leading up to the events of the SETI Alpha 6 explosion that was mentioned briefly in The Wrath of Khan. And apparently on SETI Alpha 6, there were aliens living on that planet, and they had the ability to fly. They had space flight. And I think I don't remember what they were supposed to look like, but they ended up settling on SETI Alpha 5. And then there was a bit of a conflict with them and, the Supermen, Khan's people. And of course, you still have, the shock of the orbit. You still have the SETI eels killing Marla McGivers, the redhead and Space Seed. It gets ridiculous, but he still has it. He has the script, and he's talked about it on his stream. And of course, he's also talked about the Colin Trevorrow episode 9, the Duel of the Fates script, which was better than what J.J. Abrams did with Rise of Skywalker. So there you go. I did not have. I only had the little bottles. I did not have. Enough of the Fireball. I just had this much, and I just poured it in, mixed it with some Coke, and that's it. Probably not the best idea to drink it with Coke. I'm not going to do it. In the future. I'm probably going to just drink it. I'm just going to drink it fine, like Pips does with his stuff. And we're probably be talking. We're probably be talking whiskeys pretty soon. I can appreciate a good whiskey too. So, but yeah, trying to see what else is there. Yeah, drink more Fireball. Cardinal Sin says hello. Stairs, lots and lots of stairs. Yeah, stairs. We ran up the stairs. Because I went to public school, Chicago public school. There were four floors. So we ran up stairwell, and then we'd run. Then we hop down. Then we do it again, and we did it for like 20 minutes. And then we do some more running. Then we'd be doing drills and stuff. Hopping on each other, learning moves and everything. Learn half Nelson, full Nelson. Well, I don't know if you could do full Nelson in high school wrestling, but I don't know. This is a long time ago. I've not done it ever since. I get kind of, I don't know. It's just weird like that. So Rosemary's Baby. I do want to do Rosemary's Baby. I just don't know who to do it with. I don't know who to do this stream with. I want to find someone that could do Rosemary's Baby with me, because I use clip. There's a clip of in the Serial Horror Chat opening, especially where she opens up. She's like, "This is not a dream. This is real." And then she sees the eyes of the devil, and the devil has the slitted, yellow eyes, the creepy yellow eyes, and everything. It's crazy. And yeah, there was a remake. And Cardinal Sin says Roman Polanski is my favorite director. That girl that was involved with Roman and Jack Nicholson, forgave him, and he apologized, and it's been water under the bridge. My favorite movie is The Ninth Gate. Okay, I have not seen that one. Interesting. Fearless Vampire Killers, a remake with Adrian. What remake? There was once a woman that lived in a show. She had so many children, her uterus fell out. Oh boy, little boy blue. He needed the money. And we got VGM Oscillo. Oh, is it Oscillo? And I just hear boop. What's up? And yeah, boop to you too, mate. Welcome. Carlson says, "Don't do it. You'll lose your mind. You'll never get back. Do not watch any seasons of Card." I gave Strange New Worlds a shot. I gave it a shot. I watched it for a few episodes and I just stopped. I didn't like it. It was more Akiva Goldsman. It was just trying to retcon the original series. And I'll be honest, I am not interested in retconning the original series. The original series is like, don't mess with the original series. I love the original series. Everybody loves the original. Everybody loves the original series and everything. Dempsey was 115. I was not 115. I'm a much bigger dude when I was in high school. Cardinal says, "Count me in. I'll do Rosemary's Baby with you." Okay, I'll have to. I don't know if I'm going to do any more. I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do with another serial or check, because Halloween's coming up, and then I think I'm going to finish it with Halloween, and maybe I'll do one more after that. I'll let you know, Cardinal Sin. I appreciate the offer. Thank you. Let's see. I agree. Cardinal Sin on channel for review, pretty good. Yeah. Cardinal Sin's great. He's got his own channel. He's got how many subs are you at now? Did you hit the 1,000 yet? No, you've been doing this longer than me. I was 115 and benching over 200. I was ragdolling dudes. Oh well, dude. Dempsey says Dempsey. You know how to get a hold of me. Yep. I mean, he's a director, great director, but yeah, he's a P to the E to the D to the O. That supersedes his brilliance, but yeah, that's just how it is. Sorry. That's just kind of it's crazy. Like, you kind of wonder who else has been doing shit like that, but I don't know. Oh, but yeah, it's gonna be 3 hours, so it's been a nice long Q&A session here. So yeah, I'm not. So yeah, once again, somewhere over 1,200. So you're okay. You're doing great. I've been in YouTube jail for the last. Oh really? That sucks. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. Nosferatu says, "Check your facts, mate. That was pushed by a person with a huge grudge. Look into it. You'll find out." Oh, are you talking about Polanski? Yeah. I mean, you kind of wonder what's true now, especially with the way media does things, and kind of wonder who's telling the truth and what's being. You kind of wonder what's true and what's not. So, I like to see proof. I usually like to see proof, receipts and everything, because I just don't like to condemn things without truly knowing about it. So, but I honestly think the Roman Polanski thing is true. I don't know, but that's just me. I haven't deeply read into it, so I can't really say for sure. So, once a wrestler, always a wrestler. You are a lifetime member of an eternal family. I'm so emotional now. May I call you son? May I call you son, Dad? Are you talking to me or are you talking to Dempsey? Dempsey's the star wrestler here, benching over two. I don't think I've ever really benched over 200. I mean, I benched like 215. I managed to get like maybe two or three reps of benching 215, maybe 220 at the most when I was in high school. But that's pretty much it. And then my arms would get tired. But yeah, I was never ripped like that. So, but I think I tried to do 200 a few years ago, 2017, when I was really, doing cardio. I was lifting right after the cardio. I've been lazy about it now. So yeah. But yeah, it's crazy. Oh, but there's a lot of shows I'm looking forward to. But yeah, the big thing that I'm looking forward to is doing Wheel of Time stream with Prophet and Pips and Mana Manethrin. Those are the three that I want to do because I'm going to be reading through the Wheel of Time. I'm already on, like I said earlier, I'm on chapter 9 of Eye of the World. And I mean, I've read Eye of the World before and I kind of stopped because I was just getting off of A Song of Ice and Fire. And A Song of Ice and Fire is just a really great read and everything. so like reading Robert Jordan is very different from reading George R. R. Martin, and because George R. R. Martin is not going to, I don't see him finishing Winds of Winter. It's been 11 years. Like Dance with Dragons, book 5 came out in July, like July 11th, July 12th of 2011. That's almost 11 and a half years ago. And I remember 2016, beginning of 2016, January, he gave this massive update on his Not a blog saying, "Oh, I know I promised that Winds of Winter was going to be complete, but I'm sorry it's not. I've just been so busy, and I've had more bad days than good. But my characters are still, we're still going to do it. I'm not going to be done with it tomorrow. I'm not going to be done with it next week." But one thing he did say was somebody asked him, like, "Are you going to still be working on 2021?" He's like, "No, I'm not. I'm going to be done with it by then." And now that I think about it, now I laugh because he didn't finish. It's 2020. It's going to be going into 2023. He still hasn't finished, book 6, and he still has another book to write after that. So, okay, and Cardinal Sin for another $5 super chat. Thank you. Grab yourself a copy of The Ninth Gate. Frank Langella, who I know he plays Skeletor, and I heard he had a really good time playing Skeletor in 1987 Masters of the Universe. We got Frank Langella, Johnny Depp. Of course, everybody knows Johnny Depp. It's my favorite movie. Never mind horror movie. Let's look. Let me look up. I don't think I've heard this one. Yeah, I know. It sounds like a sin. The Ninth Gate. So it's a 1999 film. I'll share my screen right here. All right. Share screen. Okay, so yeah, Johnny Depp, Frank Langella. So the movie says it's a neo-noir horror film, Roman Polanski. So obviously this was not made in the United States. And it's his first supernatural film since Rosemary's Baby. Okay, I don't want to read the full thing. It's just recently acquired 17th century satanic text. So there's Satanism in this. Okay, 9 Gates of Hell. Interesting. Huh. All right, I don't want to read. I don't want to spoil it for myself. I'll have to watch it and see for myself. So I'll close out that. Thank you once again, Cardinal Sin, for that super chat. I really appreciate you. And of course, yeah, Sedokar already has his channel. So if you haven't subscribed to him, go subscribe to Cardinal Sin, and of course subscribe to Salty and subscribe to Sno Dub. Their links are in the description. And yeah, I don't know. He says Henry Lemoyne asks, "How old is George R. R. Martin now?" He is 74 years old. He just turned. I think he just turned 74 a few weeks ago. I think his birthday is in either September or October. So he's born 1948. So yeah, he's 74. He's up there in age. He still looks pretty healthy though. He's healthier than his wife. His wife is like his wife has she has like I think his wife has arthritis. She has some issues with her neck and her back and stuff. So he's in pretty good shape. He does keep busy. I don't know if he exercises. He probably does. But yeah, he keeps busy, and he goes on his not a blog, and he complains about the New York Jets. So he talks quite a bit about the football, sports, New York sports, because he's from the East Coast. He's from Jersey, so he's an East Coast kind of guy. So yeah, it's ridiculous. Wins of never happening. That's true. Then we got Henry Lemoyne for $9.99 super chat. Thank you, Henry. Thank you for doing this. Have you seen the movie Prisoners with Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal? It's amazing and super underrated. It's in my top 10 movies. If you haven't seen it, look it up. Well, because you sent me the super chat, I will look it up right now. Actually, Prisoners. I assume it's a 2013 movie. Hugh Jackman. The plot focuses on the abduction of 2 young girls in Pennsylvania and the subsequent search for the suspected abductor by the police. Oh, so this is a thrill. I'm taking that this is a crime thriller. It's a thriller film. Okay. Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal. I wonder if Jake Gyllenhaal's kind of acts like his. I still have to say that one movie that he did where he plays like he's up all night. He's up all night. And he's catching crimes and stuff on camera. I forget the name of that movie. But yeah, thank you, Henry Lemoyne. Thank you for the super chat. So I'll have to check this. So Paul Dano, Riddler. What's freaking Riddler? Freaking incel Riddler. Paul Dano. They got Melissa Leo, Maria Bello, Viola Davis, Terrence Howard, who wanted too much money. So Terrence Howard wanted too much money. That's why Don Cheadle took over as I forget the character's name. Other Iron Man, Black Iron Man. I hate to say that. That's terrible. Nightcrawler, Cardinal Sin, Nightcrawler. That's the one. I have to see Nightcrawler. So yeah. We just hit the 3-hour mark right here. So went from being the Thing. I still have the music on too. So yeah, I've been in that Norwegian base. I've been in that Norwegian base all this whole time. Just at that creepy Ennio Morricone. And this sounds very un-Ennio Morricone. Like when you think Ennio Morricone, you think Good, Bad, the Ugly. You think of the stuff they did for Quentin Tarantino, Inglourious Bastards, Hateful Eight. I don't know if he did anything for Django. I think he did Django too. But you also think Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Fistful of Dollars, Once Upon a Time in the West, Once Upon a Time in America, the gangster one, the gangster one from the 80s. That's a weird movie. You want to see a weird gangster movie? Once Upon a Time in America. That's a messed up movie, and that kind of paved the way for Scorsese's movies, because like you had the epic, you had the Godfathers, Godfather right there. Those movies, even though they were criminals, like you kind of they were the characters in the Godfather were actually likable. You kind of could relate to them, even though they were criminals. Whereas you watch Once Upon a Time in America, they're just thugs. They're pieces of shit. And Scorsese brilliantly follows this up in Goodfellas, like and Casino. Like these guys are pieces of shit, and that's it gives it that more realistic look to it. And I feel it started with Once Upon a Time in America because the way that even De Niro, like he plays the main character, and they're a Jewish gang. They're not Italian. They're Jewish gang, but they work with Italians and everybody else in Prohibition era. And the thing he does something unspeakable to a woman that he grew up with, a girl that he was on a date, and he ended up, doing something that rhymes with grape, and it traumatized her. And that was the last he ever saw of her until years later. So it's just messed up. Like, like you think it's a weird movie. And it's like when you see stuff like that, it's really hard to like the character after that. So I think that was what the director was intending. So, but there's a lot of weird artistic choices that they made that you're like, okay, is this character dead? What happened to this character? The character just vanished, and all of a sudden you see a spinning garbage dumpster, going on. Like, what did James Woods throw himself in the thing? Because he just kind of vanishes. He walks into the frame and then he's gone. And you're like, okay, what the hell happened to him? This is weird. But then again, that's Sergio Leone. I think that was his last movie that Sergio Leone himself did. Because he ended up dying in the late 80s. I think he died of, he ended up getting heart disease. He was overweight. He was overweight throughout the 40s or throughout the 60s and 70s and 80s. So he only lived to be like 59 years old. So yeah, take care of yourself. Don't smoke. Don't try not to smoke. Try not to drink. And I'm saying, I'm not telling you guys what to do, but that's just, and of course, eat healthy, eat well, eat clean. So, which is something I gotta do too. So, but yeah, so Henry hasn't started yet, but you can still sub to be informed when he does. Sub to Henry right here. Oh, Henry, you have a channel? I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. Once Upon a Time in the West and America are both great. Once Upon a Time in the West, they steal, in Back to the Future Part 3, they steal the shot of when they enter the town. You see the camera pan out and you see the entire town. They stole that shot. Part 3 stole that shot from Once Upon a Time in the West. So I recognized that shot the moment they showed Claudia Cardinale get off the train and arrives at the town. Same shot. Like Part 3, like the Back to the Future Part 3 was actually the first Western I've ever seen. So, yeah. And Dempsey's talking more about his wrestling career. I did wrestle with Jared Martin under Gary Weiss. Jared got second in nationals in heavyweight. He went on to wrestle for Ohio State. Wow. So yeah, yeah. Any other questions and everything else? Best scene, the good, the bad, and the ugly. The last standoff was all music and eyes. Yeah, the triangle when they formed the triangle in the cemetery. and like who's going to fight, who's going to shoot at who, and they're all looking at each other. You have to choose. You have to choose one or the other. Who's going to be who? Of course, everybody knows. I mean, we've seen the ending millions of times. Of course, Clint Eastwood manages to win right there. So, but that's a great thing. You get the close up of the eyes. They're all looking at each other, and then Clint Eastwood's just like, shoots Lee Van Cleef. Spoiler alert. And then poor Eli Wallach, his gun was jammed. He lost. He didn't have any bullets in his gun. He didn't check his gun for bullets. So, but that was a great ending. That was a great ending to a movie. But yeah, I like the beginning too. The beginning where Lee Van Cleef is wearing that big giant hat, and he goes into the home of this guy, and he's eating. He just walks in. He starts eating his food. Like a little power move right there. And he just starts eating. He just starts eating his chili or whatever it was, and he's looking. And it's just such a tense moment. That's probably one of the tensest moments in cinema. Is that scene in the beginning of the movie? You get this big shot, and of course Tarantino loves to steal shots from that movie in particular. Yeah, Lee Van Cleef's a real bad guy in Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So, and Nosferatu says, "Why am I your favorite subscriber?" Because you tell the funniest jokes, you tell the funniest quips, you tell the funniest shit. Hot take: Conan the Barbarian is the best score to listen to while you sit around and play board games and video games. I have never done that. I believe, that's a very interesting one. That's a very interesting thing to do. That's very interesting. I've never done that. I don't even know if I've ever listened to the Conan the Barbarian soundtrack. I like the movie though. The movie's really good. Yeah, Lee Van Cleef is the old man. He's the old man. For a few dollars more, even though he's roughly the same age as Clint Eastwood. That's what's funny. He's not that much older than Clint. So yeah. But yeah, I kind of want to stretch my legs and go for a walk. So I'm probably going to do that. So any other questions before I go? I'll say, I'll show this again. I had my this is my con. This is the one toy I actually own. And I saw this. I saw that this was going to be on sale. I'm like, I have to own this. He's wearing the red outfit. He's got of course, he's got the hair. It's everything from Spacey right there. So my Dungeons and Dragons group usually listens to things like that while we play. Okay. So I know, I know all those guys like Pips and all of them. They play board games. They play with OBG70 and Hollywood Scholar. All those channels, they get together and they play. They play board games, or they play, role playing, actual, tabletop role playing games. I've never done that. I don't know how that works, to be honest. Everything I know about role playing games is from playing, JRPGs on, Nintendo or PlayStation or whatever. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. All I got. So, I'm going to be back on Sunday night. We're going to be doing the finale of the first season of House of the Dragon. So come on by for that. If you're watching, if you're not watching, come stop by anyways. Just say hello and obviously hit the like button, because that's why I'm being nice, is because I want your likes. I want your views. I want this because I have evil motives. I have ulterior motives. But yeah, I mean, just if you come on by, if you want, I'd love to just say hello and everything. We'll be talking, we'll be discussing shit. So try to be on point as we could. I'm sorry, kind of took forever with the thing. I know Salty and Sno Dub had to leave early, so it's just one of those things that happens. So yeah, I'm so grateful that they came on, that they both decided to come on. I was lucky to even get them both at the same time, because I know Salty's really busy with life, and of course he does his streams with Purple Valkyrie and Zax and all those guys. And Sno Dub does his own thing. I mean, he does his Saturday, he does his Saturday puppet, Saturday night stuff, and that's really, it's really great. I'm glad I got them. So my goal is I want to reach out to more people. Hopefully I won't get ghosted too much. I'll get ghosted less, but I want to talk to more people and really get more viewpoints and build more relationships, because that's the point of me doing these serial horror chats, is to find someone. I put these things together to find someone who knows probably more about it than I do. Who knows more about the movie or the thing. like the thing, for instance, Sno Dub and Salty both know more about it than I do, for sure. I mean, I do research. I do research myself. Of course, I'm very good with years when movies can't come out. And I do like to know where things come from ultimately. I mean, I'm sure most people do, you know. I like to know like what the source material was. That's why, you know, I found out about The Howling was based off a book. The Thing was based off of Who Goes There. And yeah, I actually owned, speaking of which, Nosferatu, I did own Dragon Age Origins, and I never played it. It was one of those games that just kind of sat on my shelf, and I just took it I took it to GameStop and I sold it. Got store cred for it. I know you're probably gonna be throwing your keyboard and like, why, Nerd Portal? Why would you do such a thing? But yeah, Dan Crane says great stream. Well, I appreciate you guys. I really appreciate you guys being here and being part of the conversation. It's really important. Sadakar says, can you do some more gameplay videos too, please? The reason most of us are here. I'll discuss on Discord now. I'm forced to join to chat. LOL. I haven't done a whole lot of those because I've been trying to figure out, I'm trying to figure out I've been really busy with serial horror chats and prepping for those. And I'm also working on video projects, but I'm also looking for a job right now. So my thing is I'm looking for a job right now. So I have to go back to work, and I gotta start making money again. So that's the thing. That's not the movie thing, but that's my main goal. That's my main thing that I need to do right now. So that's my job right now, is to do. And I'm doing this. This is just to help me keep busy, and I'm really enjoying this. But this is just a simple hobby. It's a hobby, and I encourage you all to give this a shot. This is a lot of fun. It's you want to if you guys lead a stream, just you have to make sure you prepare ahead of time. I always take notes because I don't remember shit. I can't remember shit off the top of my head half the time. And of course, always try to think of questions to ask the other person, or if you're going to have a whole round table, bring people in that really know what they're talking about. And just never be afraid to ask. Never be afraid to reach out to other people. Like sometimes I have to realize that you can't be worried about being ghosted. Everybody gets ghosted. Everybody gets ghosted by somebody. That's just how it is. And you'd be surprised. Like I was lucky Fanzine was interested in doing the stream with me yesterday on The Howling. I was pretty grateful for that. So yeah, it's pretty cool doing all this. So but yeah, like once again, you guys are Dan Crane, thanks for coming by. Have a good night. 4 baseball games done. Wow, you're pretty busy. So that's great. And Nosferatu, Skyrim is where you guys are talking about Skyrim. I actually have, I'll show you guys up here. I have, you see that right there? That's the map of Vardenfell right there. That is the map of Vardenfell. I've had that map up here for, I think a very long time. I've had that map for a very long time. That came with the Xbox Morrowind Game of the Year edition. Yeah, that long ago. But yeah, it's the first time I ever played an open world type of game like that was open-ended, even after you beat the main story. I thought just the concept of that just blew me away when it came out. And now games like that are common, and it's just gotten to the point where I'm not as interested in those type of games. I tried playing Elden Ring not too long ago, and even Elden Ring, I haven't played a lot of video games. Like I haven't been as interested in playing video games lately. I've been more interested in doing projects, getting stuff done, doing these streams, working on, my next video project is Metroid. So I'm going to be doing a video game related Metroid retrospective on the first game and its remake, which is because every Metroid game is part of a canon. Every Metroid game is part of the same universe. It starts with the first Metroid, then you have the Prime games take place after that. I think Prime 4 is going to fit in between Prime 3 and Metroid 2. So after the Prime games, then you have Metroid 2, which was remade into, Samus Returns. And of course, there's the AM2R version, which is another great version. Then you have Super Metroid. Then you have, after Super Metroid, then they slipped in Metroid Other M, and then Metroid Fusion, and then Metroid Dread. And so Metroid Dread kind of felt like a finale. And so if they do another game, like a Metroid 6, it would be like a new saga or something. The one thing I didn't like about Metroid Dread was because there was no Metroids in the game. It was a great game, but there was no Metroids in the game. So that was my only issue with it. So no, I don't play Final Fantasy. I've never played an MMO game. I'm not interested in MMOs. I know a lot of people are. People when I was in college, when I was in college, World of Warcraft came out. Everybody played that. People played EverQuest. People played a lot of MMOs. Never got into them. I don't understand them. Never really. They just never really interested me. I know it sounds bad, but that's just how it is. I know a lot of people like to play together. Maybe one day I'll learn how to play tabletop RPG. I don't know. We'll see. It's different. The only time I've ever seen that was in Stranger Things. So yeah, just saying. So but yeah, this is where I'm going to close off. Thank you guys for supporting, being supportive, and being here. Nosferatu, Sadakar, Dempsey, you guys have been keeping the chat going. Thank you, Dan Crane, Cardinal Sin, Henry Lemoyne, and of course, earlier Purple Valkyrie, and trying to think who else. We had VGM earlier, and Godzillionaire, and of course, it's a long thing. Dracula. Friday 13th Part 3. Yeah, I'm going through. There's a lot of things, a lot of chat I didn't even cover. So, pretty much all the same. Glenzer was here earlier. LDG. I think Runner Blaze was on. Runner Blaze came by earlier. Zax was here earlier. Gray was here earlier. Wakizashi Seahouse. Jake D was here. Man of Manethrin was here. Slicey Slicer. Ghost in the Crag. Yeah, all these. Yeah, a lot of different people came by, and it's pretty cool. It's always cool. I always get a big kick out of seeing new people come by. Of course, everybody's invited. I like to see everybody. But it's cool seeing new people come in, taking an interest. It's always cool. So yeah. And yeah, even Alan Copeland was here earlier too. So yeah, this was pretty cool. Thank you guys for doing this, for being supportive. And yeah, went above and beyond, and we appreciate it. Yeah, I think it was a whole nother hour of me doing this. So, I want to learn. Yeah, I want to be as good of a speaker as Robert Meyer Burnett. Just him leading a freaking panel, talking about all of his experiences, all the things he likes, and he's seen way more shit than I've ever. He's probably seen way more shit than I've ever seen in my life. So, and he knows Star Trek way better than I do. So, which means I gotta watch my Star Trek. I haven't even read enough books yet. So there's a lot of Trek out there that I haven't even covered yet or even seen. So there will be a Trekporial soon. I still want to do my next Trekporial with Salty. Well, we'll probably do it. Maybe the following week I'll talk to him. We'll talk about the episode Taste of Armageddon from the original series. That's one we've been meaning to do, and it would just haven't been. I'll ask him. Maybe we'll do it on Sunday. I'll have to think about it. I'll have to see if I'll have to watch the episode and we'll talk about it. I'll see if he wants to do it. So I know it's kind of short notice for him, but I'll find out. But yeah, so yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So everybody take care. I'll show you guys the intro that I used earlier, and have a good night. Take care. May the wings and reporters carry you to the next stream and to happiness.
We are approaching that time of year again. A time of great exhilaration. A time of great pleasure. A time of great fear. The darker sides of all crave that latter delight from themselves, but even more so from others. To satiate that hunger, our dark selves take note, interest, and entertainment in tales of the macabre that appeal to our deepest fears as only mortals face. The only way to achieve this is to begin the dark ritual where Nerdporial and a special guest will discuss a particular tale during this season to ward off pure evil, as well as to entertain and to educate. I humbly welcome you to the Serial Horror Chat.